footy in a big old game here. This is actually a very big game. It is actually a very big game, and we are ready to rock and roll. Hey guys, how you going? So down BKRsport, we are live as the Melbourne Storm will be playing host to the Newcastle Knights here down at Amy Park in Melbourne, where realistically they're under like must-win circumstances. Melbourne Storm, you know, they are down there in 13th position. They are currently 6 points away from the top 8 right now, which would be the Dolphins, the Rabbitohs, and the Sharks. Technically, the Cowboys and Tigers are all tied there. A lot needs to still go in their favour, but on their own basis, they just simply need to win. Because if you also look at the ladder there, you look at the Cowboys and go, well, they're in 9th position, but they also have 2 more wins than the Dolphins, Rabbitohs, and Sharks because of the fact they haven't had a bye yet, whilst those 3 teams have all had 2 of their byes, and the Tigers are on the same level as them, have also had 2 of their byes. So that's even more unfortunate for the Tigers right now, and they need to get back to winning ways. They play the Panthers this week. But long story short, the Storm right now are so far out of the equation that they just simply need to keep on winning. Otherwise, they are just going to be a no-hope very, very soon. And I mean, by the end of Origin, if they don't win a game like this, and they don't win a couple of games here during Origin, they are going to be out of it. I think they need to win. I think they can only lose 3 or 4 more games the rest of the season. We are currently in round 14. There is 27 rounds. They've actually had 0 byes. That's actually a big point to talk about too, actually. The Melbourne Storm haven't had a single bye yet. They are the only team alongside the Cowboys who haven't had a bye. So actually, they're only 1 win away from the Rabbitohs, the Sharks, and the Dolphins. So actually forget kind of all that I said there. That's a very important thing to talk about. Their points differential is not awful considering what they were at one stage. They're now -4. But gee whiz, you know, that the fact that they've not had a bye yet is actually an interesting point to talk about. So they're not as out of it as you'd think. But with that being said, they still just need to simply win, and especially games like this because, you know, then you will still fall behind the pack in regards to the Sharks play the Dragons this week. You know, the Cowboys and the Dolphins, that's an interesting game. Obviously, the Rabbitohs lost, which is huge for the teams like the Melbourne Storm. Anyway, long story short, Storm must win. Knights, on the other hand, they're obviously in a pretty good position right now. They're sitting in 5th position. A loss can drop them relatively significantly down to about 8th or so. We'll get into the ladder in a second and really tell you how these teams will finish off this round, win or lose. But the Knights are in a pretty good position right now where they can actually go into 3rd position themselves ahead of the game with the Roosters and the Raiders game tonight. But they are a team that has been exciting this year. They don't really have the defense in mind, but they have plenty of attack that does nullify a lot of having to defend. They don't have to defend a whole heap because they are attacking so much, and that's what Justin Holbrook does. That is quite literally the emphasis and the foundation that he puts into his team. I know that because that's what he was doing with the Gold Coast Titans when they made the finals back in 2021. It's just the defense, unfortunately, it never really got going. And second half of the season was actually usually where he really fired up. He really fired up more so in the second half of the season. I remember 2020, the only reason the Titans didn't make the finals in that year was actually because it was a shortened year. It was 20 rounds rather than the 27 or 24 or whatever it was before the Dolphins came in. So Justin Holbrook is a high emphasis in regards to the second half of the season. Not so much second half of games, though. That's a big concern for them. But let's get into the 2-team lumps here for this game here today. And then after this, we'll be jumping straight into the Canberra Raiders versus Sydney Roosters game, which is really, really interesting how that one does pan out because the Raiders need to win and the Roosters, you are on scam for a reason. But guys, obviously hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here, and let's work through the team lineups. So the Storm, they come into this game from 13th position. The Knights come into it from 5th position, and this is at Amy Park in Melbourne. The ins here for Melbourne, you've got Sean Blaw and Siwalangi Tuimalatu Brown. The outs are Jack Howarth and Nick Meaney. The fullback, Sualauvi Farlonga, who's been having a great season. Wingers are Will Warbrick and Moses Leo. And the centers are Manaya Fatere and Joe Chan. You go to the 5'8", Cameron Munster, with the halfback being Jerome Hughes. Front row forwards are Stefano Utuakamanu and Josh King, with the number 9 being Harry Grant, who is the captain. The back row is Cooper Clark and Ativalu Lasati, with the 13 being Trent Loyero. And the interchange is Trent Toalau, Alec McDonald, Jack Hetherington, Josiah Pahulu, Siwalangi Tuimalatu Brown, and Sean Blaw, with the coach being Craig Bellamy. Like I said, the Storm just simply need to win, man. And they've been finding a little bit better form of late comparatively. I'm still not convinced in them. But a win here today would start to convince me that the Storm are returning to a much better team than what they've been showing so far this season. They won against the Roosters 18-4 last week. But, the Roosters are on a bit of a slide right now. They've been looking very, very scam. Very, very scam. That's why they're there on the table right now as scam. But they did win 18 points to 4 over the Roosters. The Roosters just simply weren't good enough in that game. But you did have that loss of the Bulldogs 30-20, we're just like, well, they're not really back yet, but they did beat the Eels 34-8. It's like, whatever, it's the Eels. And they did beat the Tigers 44-16, but you're just like, whatever. One, they're in 10th position, but also two, they had a lot of injuries in that game. And prior to that, they had like a 7-game losing streak. So the point is with the Storm, I still don't really know necessarily what to expect from them at the moment. I think that they are definitely putting themselves back into some good confidence levels, and confidence is what they need because we know that they can be a very, very good team. They've been in the last 2 grand finals in a row. Yes, they have lost them, but if they've got a bit of confidence behind them, they absolutely can go on a run. They've got the players there, and Harry Grant, Munster, Jerome Hughes, Farlongo. Will Warbrick needs to find his form because he's dropped a lot of ball this year. He's dropping a ball at least every game at the moment. Interesting in regards to the centres of Joe Chan and Manaya Fateri, but at the end of the day, this Storm team do have what it takes to win a game like this and really put their name back into the conversation, which is what someone was saying last night. They had Storm as a grand final contender, and I didn't really care for that one. I cared for the Sharks one, but the Storm aren't actually as far out of it as I originally thought when I looked at that ladder just then, because the fact they have not received a bye yet. So despite the fact that they've had some really, really tough times this year, could you see a Panthers run of last year? I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think the Storm have that in them. However, is it possible? Sure. If they win this game here today, it is against a team that has been very, very good so far this season. And that will tell you a lot about the Storm finding that confidence again and really being able to punch through this origin period. Now let's move to the Newcastle Knights, where they've got an inner Francis Manalalua and the out is Sandon Smith. The fullback is Kalen Ponga, who is the captain, with the wingers being Dominic Young and Greg Martiu. Centers of Dane Gagai and Fletcher Hunt. The 5'8" is Fletcher Sharp, with the halfback being Dylan Brown. Front row forwards are Jacob Saifidi and Trey Mooney, with the number 9 being Phoenix Crossland. Back row of Dylan Lucas and Jermaine McEwen, with the 13 being Matt Croker. And the interchange is Harrison Graham, Tyson Frizzell, Pasami Saulo, Thomas Kant, Kobe Hopwood, Francis Manalalua, and coach is Justin Holbrook. I, maybe bold call here, think this is the best team they can actually put out there. I think Sandon Smith is good for 14. I don't think that he actually should be in the halves. I think it should be Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Brown, which is actually what they started the season off with. They've put Fletcher Hunt in the centre here, which is what kind of we were calling for, but Bradman Best would typically be here if he wasn't injured right now. I genuinely believe you would put Bradman Best into the centre, and then that 1 through 7 is their best 1 through 7, which is going against the notion that Sandon Smith has been their 6 and they signed him from the Roosters. I just don't really rate him as highly as I do Fletcher Sharp, having the ball in his hands at a majority of times. And I think that, look, Harrison Graham there is in that 14, but and I do like Harrison Graham. You guys know that I do actually have a lot of praises for him as a player, and I've liked him coming off the bench. But maybe you would put Sandon Smith there instead. I just genuinely believe that Fletcher Hunt and Dylan Brown are the halves here for Newcastle. And I said it pre-season as well. I said that Fletcher Sharp was going to have an absolutely massive year this year. I put him as my breakout player here for the Knights. Even though people are aware of him, I thought this year was really going to be the point that he stands up and makes sure that everyone knows his name and everyone knows how quality he is. And I feel like he is doing that. So he's in that 5'8", and I just think that this is the best 1 through 7 that the Knights can put out. And I don't think there's any changes that you'd really make in regards to the forwards as well. I do think that the forwards, they are solid. I think this actually is a weaker part of the Knights team, though, because again, it really does come down to what the backs have been doing so far this season with their heavy emphasis attack, but the forwards are just throwing themselves and really utilising the brilliant backline that they do have. But I think that there is definitely a possibility that you look through these forward pack and you go, well, their form is great, but the form could completely drop off as well in regards to individuals, which will affect the entirety of the forwards. I think their names are very, very solid. I just feel like it takes one player to have a really off game and they can all kind of fall apart in regards to this forward pack, which could be a bold call, could be completely against the grain. I'm very well aware of that. When you look at their names on paper, you think they're working as a team. And that's kind of what the Newcastle Knights build themselves off on a pretty regular basis outside of last year and maybe the mid-2010s. But outside of that, they're usually a hard-working unit where they all play for each other. And that's what I feel about these forwards right now. But I just feel like if they are having an off game, or one or two players having an off game, the whole forward pack will come undone. So that's my biggest concern there with Newcastle. And as I said, I think that their defense being relatively poor is actually hidden because their attack is so damn good, and their attack is unbelievable. It's great to watch. They just pump the line. They put that attacking pressure on, and Dylan Brown has been great. I don't know why. I saw a post yesterday from on Instagram saying that Dylan Brown has been disappointing. I think that that's absolutely ludicrous to be saying that. Sure, you can look at more positives to come from him in the games, but at the end of the day, he's come across to a Newcastle Knights team that came last year alongside Justin Holbrook and the likes, but he's come across this Newcastle Knights team, and now they are in 5th position rather than in last position, where I think they might have actually been in about 10th or even 9th last year at this point, and then completely fallen off past this point where they didn't win a game for the rest of the season. But that's not the point. The point is they came last. They had no attack. Their attack was absolutely dribble, and the halfback is going to be a guy that you are looking at and saying, well, he's going to be delivering a lot of what this attack can produce, and I do feel like Dylan Brown has been doing that, and I think that he's a great defender as well. I think he's one of the best defensive halves in the comp, so I don't know why we saw some criticism for him, especially considering that coming into this year, he wasn't a great halfback when he was at the Eels. He was a 5'8", and sometimes when Moses was out, he would actually go into that halfback position, and he was really disappointing. I didn't really like him at all there. And then what you saw him play for the you saw him play for the New Zealand Warriors last year, and I thought that he was fantastic. I thought you could clearly see his form was just electric, and I was really looking forward to seeing what he could produce here for the Knights, but I was worried about him in the 7. Well, I'm not really worried about him in the 7 right now. Do I think that he's a defined 7 in a lot of ways? Not necessarily. I don't think that he is a traditional halfback in a lot of ways. However, I do think that he's definitely more of a halfback than, say, a Fletcher Sharp, who I think is perfect for that 5'8 position. And I am excited about this Knights team. So I'm still going to be taking Newcastle here today, but I think this is as 50-50 as it gets. I genuinely believe this is a 50-50 game. I just think the Knights attack should be too good here, and I still worry about that 2 through 5 for the Melbourne Storm of Warbrick, Monet Vatelli, Joe Chan, and Moses Leo. And I do worry in regards to their forwards as well, but I do feel like the same argument that you can make for the Knights will go for the Storm in the sense that if one's off, they're all off. Not that they're all on anyway. It's not the same. The Knights have definitely been a lot more on form. But I just think that there's a lot of similarities that I can look at in regards to the forwards, but at least they're designed and being delivered by that number 9 of Harry Grant compared to Finney's Crossland. But the back line, it just is so much better for mine from the Newcastle Knights, because they've got a really convincing 1 through 7 rather than a convincing 1, 6 and 7 for the Storm, but not so much a 2, 3, 4 and 5, especially with the fact that Will Warbrick has been fantastic in his career here, but he has been falling off this year. He really has been poor on defense, but specifically in regards to ball handling. He's dropping the ball a lot of the time lately, unfortunately. So I'm going to take the Newcastle Knights here, but I do think this is 50-50 because the Melbourne Storm are desperate for a win. They've had a couple of wins in the last month or so. They've had 3 wins out of their last, I think, 4 games, which they'd be super happy with. Yeah, beat the Roosters, lost the Bulldogs, beat the Eels, and beat the Tigers. So 3 wins out of the last 4 games. I don't think that ultimately it's been the most convincing. I think the Roosters game was probably the most convincing of the lot, but I don't think it's been the most convincing that month. So I'm going to lean with the form team here of Newcastle, but I could absolutely be let down. I'm going to take the Storm here. I'm going to take the Newcastle Knights here away. But I am aware the Storm could absolutely win this with the fact that they are 3 out of 4 and they aren't actually too far out of the top 8 than you think right now. Let's go into the ladder here and talk about that. So the Newcastle Knights, they're in 5th position on 18 points alongside the Sydney Roosters, who play later on tonight against the Raiders. The Knights, they have a plus 34. The Roosters have a plus 47. And also Manly on 18 with plus 117. They have the bye next week, which is very beneficial to them. However, the Newcastle Knights, if they win this game, they would go above the Roosters for now. Now, they are only 13 points behind the Roosters. So if they were to say win this game by 20 and the Roosters only beat the Raiders by 1, 2, 4, well, the Knights would still jump them, and they obviously jump Manly as well, going to 20 points in 3rd. So there is a chance here that both the Roosters and the Knights could win, but the Knights just need to win by 13 more points than whatever the Roosters win by tonight against the Raiders. And that should be a very interesting game, and that realistically should be a close game considering the Raiders are finding some form and the Roosters, they're slipping, but they're also up there in the top 4. Should be a very, very interesting game there at Gio Stadium. So for mine, I'm going to be scammed by the Roosters again tonight, I'm sure, but I would expect the Knights to still be in 4th position by the end of the round, but I know you're extremely happy to be taking that, and you're very close to locking up a final spot because you'd only need you've got 2 more buys to go this season. You'd be on 20 points then, and you'd still have 2 more buys, which would then mean you are on 24 points. Typically, you need 32 points. I definitely think 32 points is the necessary this year. So that means you would only actually have to win about 4 more games based on that. You'd only have to win 4 more games. So I think that by doing that, you put yourself to 20, you put yourself to 24. Surely you win at least 4 more games for the rest of the season to take you from 24 to 32 points. Surely, and that's obviously with those 2 buys included, right? So. You're close, in my opinion. You are very, very close. But we are still only halfway through the season, and we've seen bigger soldiers fall than what this Newcastle Knights team is. We've seen bigger teams go up and then completely fall off. So it's not solidified until the fat lady is singing. So again, 3rd or 4th, but realistically, it will come down to just having to beat this Storm team by 13 more points than the Roosters beat Raiders, unless the Roosters lose. If the Knights lose, however, the Dolphins and Cowboys both play each other. The Dolphins have a plus 51. They're on 16. The Cowboys have a plus 13. So if the Cowboys win, they would have to have a switch up of 21 points between the two because the Knights are plus 34. So if the Cowboys would have to win by, say 10 points, and the Knights would have to lose by roughly around 12 points, 14 points, right? There needs to be a 21-point swing. That is the only way they'd go below them. But the Dolphins, they would go above them if they were to win their game. So the Knights would go to 6th position. Rabbitohs have already lost. Forget them. Sharks play the Dragons. They're plus 40. You lose this. The Sharks win. You go down into 7th position. And then the Tigers are minus 10, you're plus 34. There would need to be a 44-point swing between the 2 games. So essentially, the Knights have to lose by about 30, and the Tigers have to win by about 18 points, 20 points kind of deal. And then you could drop out of the 8 into 9th position there, but that is unlikely. So realistically, with a loss, one of the Dolphins or Cowboys, if the Dolphins win, they go above you. And I would expect the Sharks to just simply beat the Dragons. So I'd probably have you for 7th, because I probably am taking the Dolphins. I don't know. That's a hard game to predict. I'd probably have you for 7th, but look, it's a difficult read there with all those points differentials and whatnot. But I'd probably have you for 7th. On the other side, Melbourne Storm, you're in 13th position on 10 points, which is equal with the Canterbury Bulldogs and the Parramatta Eels. Like I said before, though, the benefit to the Melbourne Storm right now is that you have had 0 buys, whilst the Bulldogs have had 1, and so have the Eels. The Raiders and the Broncos right above you have only had 1 by 2. So you're actually equal on wins currently with the Raiders and the Broncos. If you were to win this game, you would go above both of them because the Raiders are minus 72, the Broncos are minus 61, and the Storm, you would go into 11th position. That's the highest you can go. You'd still be 4 points away from the Tigers, the Cowboys, the Sharks, Rabbitohs, and the Dolphins. But with that being said, you would be 2 buys behind the Tigers, the Sharks, the Rabbitohs, and also the Dolphins. It's just the Cowboys that are still 3 wins above you right now. But if you won this and they lost theirs, you'd only be 2 wins behind them because you'd be on 6. And that is equal with those teams in the top 8. So that's why the Storm aren't actually that far away from the top 8 as I was thinking beforehand. That's why you shouldn't actually write them off just yet because of those lacking buys. But yeah, if they win, 11th position, but if the Broncos beat the Titans and the Raiders beat the Roosters, they'll fall back into 13th position, but they'll still be on the same amount of wins as those teams, just without those buys, which I'm sure the Storm will get a buy next week. If they lose this game, however, well, the Bulldogs are on minus 99 and the Eels are on minus 150, so don't worry about that in regards to today. The issue is, though, is that the Bulldogs and Eels both play each other this week. So no matter what, one of those 2 teams will go above you. The Melbourne Storm will drop into the bottom 4 regardless. And yeah, it would be a worst case scenario if it was a draw. If it was a draw, then both those teams would jump you. You go into 3rd last. So a draw would put you into 3rd last. If whoever wins will put you into 14th. But you can't go into 15th because the Titans are still on 8 with the minus 88. You would need to dead set lose by 60 and the Titans have to win by 20 or 30 for that to happen. So that's not happening. So long story short, with a loss, you are guaranteed 14th with a draw being 15th. But with a win, you are guaranteed not in the bottom 4, but there is a good chance you could still finish 13th if the Broncos and the Raiders both won. But there you go, guys. That is the preview for today's game. I am going with the Knights. I'm backing in the form of the attack. I think that they should be able to get the job done here, but this Storm team still 3 out of 4. You have to respect it, even though I don't think they were amazing in that 3 out of 4, except for maybe the Roosters game. But I wouldn't even say they were amazing for that. It's just the Roosters were really, really poor as per usual. So I don't trust it. So that's why I'm going to go with the Newcastle Knights until proven otherwise. And then I'm happy to get the tip wrong if it means, and the Melbourne Storm win, because then they will start to convince us again that they should be really regarded as a genuine team to make the top 8. But they do still need a lot to go their way overall to put themselves into that top 8 conversation at the moment. But guys, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. Like I said, we've got the Roosters versus the Raiders game right after this, and hopefully it's a doozy of a day, and hopefully it's a doozy of a weekend. Are we lagging? A6 says it's just lagging on my end. Are we lagging right now, guys? Let me know in the chat. Doesn't look like it's lagging on my side. Everything on my Streamlabs and whatnot looks sweet. Let me know in the chat. Hola, Looney says, let's go the Knights. XXX, getting on the Knights. Brent says, most of the score we have now pretty much signed till then, till Luke is signed till 2030. Yeah, that's a big sign. That's really good there for the Knights. Just Justin Holbrook's just got to really continue to get the best out of them. Hopefully his stint at the Roosters has helped him to, have an impact as a balanced game overall, and rather than just attack, it hasn't been exactly that for the first part of this season. It's been more so just attack, and defense later. And again, to pinpoint this for Knights fans who don't necessarily believe what I'm saying, Newcastle so far this season, you've given up 306 points. So that's behind the Panthers, behind the Warriors, behind the Manly Seagulls, behind the Roosters, behind the Dolphins, behind the Rabbitohs, behind the Sharks, behind the Tigers, and behind the Titans. Wow, that shows you the defense has improved for the Titans. So the Knights are actually 10th right now in regards to their defense, but their attack is 340. So that's behind the Panthers, the Warriors, the Manly Seagulls. That's it. They're 4th for attack. So the Newcastle Knights are 10th for defense, but their attack is top 4. It's in 4th position behind the Panthers, the Warriors, and the Manly Seagulls. You're only 2 points above the Rabbitohs as well. But so they're kind of essentially equal. But the point is, just purely based off of the stat right now, you are 4th best attack, but you're the 10th best defense. Or if you want to look at the other way, you would be the 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. You're the 8th worst defense, right? So I don't know why I had to do the maths there, but off the top of my head, I was struggling. So the point is that's I don't think that the Knights defense is good. I just think that the Knights don't have to defend much because they are pumping the line. You can't say that it's hating to point that out, because that is a statistical fact in regards to Newcastle Knights defensively being in 10th position. And it's amazing to me. It really is. It's amazing that I can see the Titans on 280 through 11 games, granted, and the Knights on 306 through 12 games. So if you want to be fair and give the Titans that extra game, that's still a 26-point swing right now. So you would still need the Titans to concede 26, which is entirely possible. But again, they haven't been getting absolutely blown out as much as you would normally see. Let's quickly go and have a look here what their average is this season. So 280 divided by 11 is 25. So technically, the Titans, even with that extra game, if you give them the 25 points, they would go to 305, which would be 1 point better than the Knights defensively. This isn't me trying to circle jerk the Gold Coast Titans here. This is me putting emphasis in regards to the fact that the Titans are actually improving their defense, regardless of whatever you think. It is absolutely a fact. They're in 9th for defense right now. And even if you add in that extra game to get to the 12 games with the Knights, if you base it off the average of this season, it's still above them by just the 1 point. So the defense of the Knights is actually quite similar right now to the Gold Coast Titans, which is crazy considering second last, but it's just the Titans' attack is just putrid. It's just putrid. Brenton says, I'm a bit nervous at this game. It's our first night game besides Las Vegas. Jess says, morning, get around your Jess. Benji Players says, please don't put me in the timeout. I just want to chat. Well, then don't make the moderators time you out, man. Yeah, exactly. Brenton says, Benji, if you don't give us a reason to, then you won't. Yeah, for example, you can see everybody chatting in the chat right now. There's no timeouts or anything like that. The reason why you get timed out is because the moderators pick something out, whether it's being spamming or whether it's just being a dick for no reason. They're not timing me out for absolutely no reason. And if they do, they are very well aware that I'll call it out as well and say, like, oh, I don't think that deserves a timeout. Brett Torman says, Ashley Klein not getting a primetime game. I'm shocked. Brett, don't say his name. Brett, don't say his name. What are we doing? It's like Lord Voldemort, mate. He who shall not be named. Ashley Klein is the bald man that shall not be named. We shall not do that. I think that we're getting to a level now on BKRsport where we time people out for Storm with 2 S's. There's only 1 S in Storm. There is only 1 S. We time people out for I'm not telling you that I'm doing this to you now, but we time people out for saying 2 S's in Storm when there's only 1 S. We time people out for putting saying the Fitty Bomb before the Thrifty 30 gets here. Well, I think I'm starting to get to the point, if we ever mention Ashley Klein's name, it might get a timeout. We're getting to a point of it, because he shall not be named. He shall not be named. Jess, does anyone have any thoughts on try scorers in this game? Okay, well, my try scorers for this game, I'm loving a little bit of Fletcher Hunt. He's been really good for him, and we did call for him to come in last week when Sando had to come out. Fletcher Sharp's always a great shout. Callum Pong is a great shout. I'm going to go with Fletcher Hunt, though. I do really like him to get a try here. For the forwards for Newcastle, I'd probably be looking towards a Dill Lucas. Maybe even a Matty Croker, to be fair. I wouldn't be surprised with it. I would go with Dylan Lucas, but Matt Croker isn't an awful shout. He doesn't usually score, but I just could see him going over the line here against this Melbourne Storm team where they lack the physicality in the forwards for mine. I don't think their forwards show any form of physicality in comparison to what we would typically see out of a Craig Bellamy run Melbourne Storm team. So Matt Croker is actually a bit of an outsider shout. He'd be paying a lot, but I am going to go with Dylan Lucas. So I'll go Dylan Lucas and Fletcher Hunt. For the Melbourne Storm backline, I think he's in some great form, Munster. Farlongo obviously is the one that you're always looking towards. Will Warbrick is one of the easiest shouts there on the wing. I did put Manaia Fatere as the thumbnail picture today. No, I'm going to go with Money. I think his form's been good. If you want to go with a simpler option, you'd probably go more so the Will Warbrick or the Manaia Fatere or the Farlongo. But I'm going to go a bit against the grain and go Munster. And he has scored a few tries recently as well. Jerome Hughes may be due, actually. He hasn't scored in quite a while, so he may be due for one. And then in regards to the forwards, for the Storm, you've got a Cooper Clark, you've got a Harry Grant. I want to go a little bit away from the obvious. Stefano never scores, dude. Watch tonight be the one. Because I've said that, watch Stefano find a way to score. I'm going to go Stefano for a bit of a laugh. If you want an easier shout, though, on the forwards, you would be looking at a Harry Grant. Seb Watson is going to sell you a dream. He's going to sell you an absolute dream in regards to Josh King. Don't believe him, please. But then he's probably going to score because of that. Seb Watson has been begging and demanding everyone to bet on Josh King to score a try this year. Last year, every week, he's telling people to get on Josh King. And it never happens. And then I think that he's scored a couple in the last like 3 or 4 weeks or something like that. Don't let him sell you a dream. Please don't do Josh King. But if you do, money bags. So I'm going to take Stefano just because I said he never scores, because he doesn't usually. He just doesn't. So I'll go Stefano and Money Munster, and then I'll go with Fletcher Hunt and Dill Lucas. Slap it up. Jacob says go the Knights. Brenton says Jess, Fletcher Hunt, Dylan Lucas. Aha! Brenton, we're on the same wavelength. Fletcher Hunt, Dylan Lucas. We are on the same wavelength. Nelson says it's going to be a good one. It could definitely be a good one. It could also be a blowout Newcastle way. It also could be a blowout Melbourne Storm way, but I'd be more inclined to look at, if there's a blowout here, you would probably be looking at Newcastle. However, the Melbourne Storm have won 3 out of their last 4 games. Regardless of context behind it, they've still been in 2 grand finals in a row. They won the prelims to get there. They have been very good for the last ever. They've had a poor first half of the season, which is what the Panthers did, and they came running home strong. If you believe the Storm have a good enough team here to run home strong, then back them in. I'll say this: if you believe that the Melbourne Storm have a good enough team to come, if you believe they were going to be hot this year, and you thought that the 2 grand finals in a row, they were going to maybe get the grand final this year or maybe win the grand final this year. If you believe they've got the team here to go on a run, I would 100% back it in to tip them today. I just have my doubts in regards to the context of the games, but I will argue for the point that there is a genuine discussion to be had about, if you think this Storm team still has good names on paper, that they will win this game. I just feel like there's a worry between the 2 through 5, and there's also a worry in regards to the leadership in the front row forwards of Watchalong and King, and Clark and Lasati are okay, but still need to see a little bit more. So I wouldn't guarantee this is a Knights win, but I am going to be tipping the Knights, and a confident tip as well, but I'm not guaranteeing anything. Brenton says, I agree with you, mate. Sharp is our proper 5'8". Agree. Jess says, cheers, Nate. Nate says, Knights haven't won in Melbourne since 2014. True. Rabbitohs hadn't beaten them there ever. I don't think the Rabbitohs had ever beaten them, or since 2001 or something like that. When was the last time the Rabbitohs prior to this year beat them, and they beat them by 50 or 46 or whatever it was, 48? Nearly for their second consecutive 50 in a row. Actually, no, I think they gave out 50. I think the Warriors the week after didn't get to the 50. I can't remember. The Storm have been pumped so much this year. So, yeah, sure, but records are made to be broken. We've seen that happen a lot with the Storm this year. When do they ever lose 2 in a row? When do they ever lose 3 in a row? When have they ever lost 4 in a row? When have they lost 5 in a row? When have they lost 6 in a row? And I think it might have even been 7 in a row. So, yeah, I wouldn't be relying on stats like that with this Melbourne Storm team this year. Entirely possible the Knights go and lose it, but I wouldn't be relying on stats like that this year. Jess says, do we think a high-scoring game? Yes, I do. I think the Knights defense isn't fantastic. I know the Melbourne Storm defense isn't fantastic typically. But if you believe that the Roosters game was a good reflection of them, then you would say their defense is much improved. But this Knights team is so high pressure that they can still probably break through them. The Knights have the attacking weapons. The Melbourne Storm have the attacking weapons. So I think it should be a high-scoring game, yeah. It really should be, based off of everything that you would look at in regards to the stats. They're both out in the field. Both out in the field, fired up, ready to rock and roll here. Ready to rock and roll here. What on earth have I just seen removed from the chat? That is a wild comment. Edson says, Annie Nate, do you ever stop jerking? What's going on here? Why are you having a crack? Just enjoy the game, bro. Storm versus Knights about to start up. They're both out in the field. Let me just refresh let's just refresh the old score. And we are underway, ladies and gentlemen. The Storm will grab the ball at the 5. Jerome Hughes off to Woodville Commander, and he'll bring it out to the 15 on first tackle. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. And don't forget, we do have the next game, which is the Raiders versus the Roosters in Canberra right after this. The old Brahman, Horsebrow, back in action. Love the Brahman. And it says, us Dragons fans need to stick together, Edson. Nathan as it goes back. Yeah, look, at the end of the day, the Dragons, they won 1 game all season and it didn't come until last week. You know, of course, Dragons fans are going to circle jerk each other because it's the only way to get by right now. It's the only way to get by is, find that community and see other people suffering just like you. But the reason why Edson's crying right now isn't actually because of you and Nate, honey. He's crying because he's a Broncos fan. And you guys enjoying the community of each other is a direct antagonist to the fact that they lost the Dragons last week. So obviously he is a little bit antsy about the fact that it's Dragons fans that are commenting in the chat, and he recognises it and he remembers that he lost to them last week. Second tackle over Newcastle. They're going to be at the 25. They'll get it off to Fletcher Hunt, and good run even from Fletcher Hunt to the 35 now on third tackle. Aussie Spaceman says, think the Storm should upgrade our pack and try get Jolly and Sam Hughes. Jolly and Sam Hughes both have high 90s tackle efficiency and workhorses. Jolly, are you talking about Jimmy Jolliffe at the Titans? Who are you talking about, Jolly? Sam Hughes at the Bulldogs, strange one. But if you're talking about Jimmy Jolliffe at the Titans, well, that's a big risk coming off of an ACL. Sure, I also don't think the Titans are willing to part ways. But then again, to be fair, if Jimmy Jolliffe does get that offer, he would take it up in a heartbeat. I just think that's a huge risk for Melbourne to take right now on an ACL player. Second tackle here at the 20, and they give it off to Manae Fatere, who will be at the 25 on third tackle. Makes sense. Yeah, fair enough. Jake says Ponga is getting sent off. No, he's not. No, he's not. Fourth tackle now at 30. No, he's not. Klein warning everyone he's reffing this game. No, it's not Klein today, is it? Is Klein the one reffing? I need to say... Oh, no. No. I didn't even see him. Until just now. But Jerome Hughes will kick this ball away from the 45, and Callum Pong grabs it at the 15. He'll take it out to the 20, to the 25, looking for a hole, and will not find it. We'll be taken down to the 30 now on first tackle. Gee whiz. God bless you, Newcastle and Storm fans. Probably God bless you, Newcastle, to be fair. Ashley Klein's probably going to get the no-pan stance going on here for Melbourne. We know that. It's going to be Dom Young. He'll bring this ball to the 45 on third tackle, 3 minutes in. It was fair. Yeah, don't know what that's about. Same as Sean, love this group. Sean says, this stream makes me happy. Thank you all. Get around your Sean. Well, not when Bulldogs games are on, that's for sure. You're not having a great time then. Matt Grogan, Fletcher Sharp, Callum Ponga, quick passing, Fletcher Hunt. Good hands. They'll be at the 30 on 4 tackle. Not when the Bulldogs are playing, wouldn't be making you happy. Oh, why are you kicking that ball on 4 tackle? Oh, it's going to put you in a good area, though, but a good take from Farlongo. Why have they kicked that on 4 tackle unless the screen was wrong in regards to the tackle account? They were at the 30 and they had an extra tackle up their sleeve, but they decided to kick it in an awkward area that was forced under pressure. I don't understand why they did that unless the tackle count was off just then. How you cannot see him, he's bald. Well, I am actually, I don't know if you know this, Loney, but I am watching the game. So I am watching the actual footy itself. I actually, at the end of the day, don't want to know that a referee is there. The best case scenario for a game of sport and a game of rugby league is the players to define how the game goes. So I don't really give a shit who's in the middle at the end of the day. So my first point of emphasis is not to look at who's wearing the bright yellow vest and is the ball man in the field. Left-hand side, I'm looking for what's happening here. Callum Ponga. That's going to be a drop ball from the Knights. It's a good kick and in a good area and forces the error out of Callum Ponga. So Melbourne Storm are going to go on the attack here. It's a good kick. So yeah, I don't care. I do not look at who the referee is originally. I'll see them on the field, but it's just not my point of emphasis. It's actually 5th. I think the tackle count was off. I heard Klein call 5th. Yeah, maybe it was the tackle count off then. Well, we got the money to get some players. Wouldn't mind seeing Jolly from Titans. We signing Hetherington for cheap. Sure, but again, that's a massive risk there on a player, and I don't think Craig Bellamy's got too much longer there as well. So the Storm right now aren't the draw as well as previously. That's an obstruction. That's an obstruction. How on earth is that not a penalty to the Newcastle Knights for an obstruction in the middle of the field? How on earth? That's going to be 6 again here for Melbourne. Are we serious? How was that? Phoenix Crossland is injured right now, I believe, off of this obstruction. I actually don't understand how there wasn't an obstruction called here. So God bless Phoenix Crossland right now, who is down and unfortunately out. Crossland, wow, he has been taken out, by the way. I don't understand why Ashley Klein hasn't called this. Crossland's just crossing across. Crossland is moving across to go to Farlongo. Why? This, like, based off of how you rule these penalties nowadays, NRL, well, how is that not an obstruction? How on earth is that not an obstruction? One, that should be a penalty, but if you base it off of the fact that you sin bin players for penalties nowadays based off of an injury, well, then it should be a sin bin off of that. It really shouldn't be a sin bin, but based off of the consistency, well, it should be because it's a penalisable play, and we've seen a serious injury because of it, because Crossland's going to come out of this game and Harrison Graham's going to come into the number 9. So I'm a little bit confused here, Ashley Klein. What are we going to call here? I hope you've gone back for the escort. I hope you go back for the penalty, because it should be a penalty here. Ashley Klein should just send him off for the whole game. Exactly right, Brenton. Exactly right. Definitely a concussion. Yeah, he won't be back here today, unfortunately, if he's Crossland. He's going to be stretched off here. God bless him. So lucky you've got Harrison Graham there on the bench. Lucky you've got Harrison Graham there, but this is a massive blow here for the Newcastle Knights early doors. I still can't believe that Ashley Klein hasn't called that, though. You cannot tell me that Phoenix Crossland is making a defensive decision there to make this tackle with his head. You can't do it. That's not possible. Phoenix Crossland is moving across. He's got no vision of Joe Chan running into the line. Absolutely none. If this isn't a turned around penalty to the Newcastle Knights, it'll be baffling. What do you mean, Kevin Walters, saying Joe Chan didn't see Crossland coming either? Joe Chan is running into his line. What are you talking about, Kevin Walters? What is Kevin Walters talking about? Kevin Walters is suggesting that nobody's at fault here, except for the fact that Joe Chan has ran into the Knights line and into the head of Crossland when he had no idea he was there, because he was coming across the field, which is a legal play from the Newcastle Knights. All he's doing is trying to cut out and watch the play of the ball, watch the ball movement. He's not making a defensive tackle. He's not making a decision. He is moving across, and the player Joe Chan has run into him and obviously impacted it in this way. That is super, super frustrating to hear the commentary make any form of discussion surround the fact that that was nobody's fault, and Joe Chan should be completely free of any complaint in regards to how he ran to that line. To be honest, I hate Ash. All about him. Half the time, the most inconsistent ref as well. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Scott says, I see that person who can't be named as ref. Correct. Jess says, well, I think Blaze is in a timeout here. I'm in a timeout? Why am I in a timeout? What have I done? Joe Chan got him to score, thinking he might do something good for once. Well, he hasn't done anything good here. Future ex-Broncos coach Walters? Future ex-Broncos coach. What do you mean future ex-Broncos coach? He is just ex-Broncos coach. Ex-Broncos coach Kevin Walters. He's literally just their ex-coach. There's no future about it. No future. So he's still getting... he's getting stretched off here. God bless Finn's Crossland. He will come to the field. Ashley Klein, you better penalise this. You better penalise it. Oh, we can't mention that ref. Yeah, well, unfortunately, we're currently talking about him not making a call in regards to an obstruction. He will still be their ex-coach in the future. Well, that is true, but also ridiculous, but that is true. I'm sure he's not going to penalise him. I'm sure he's not going to do it. I'm sure he won't. I think this is a send-off. It's not going to be getting a send-off. And I don't think it should be a bin either. It should just definitely be a penalty to Newcastle. 1,000,000%. Get around you to kill. Broncos fans are calling for his return. Surely not. Surely there's not a single Broncos fan in existence that would be asking for that. Manuel says, what's the weather there is? Wet or dry? If wet ball, if dry, good game. No, it's a dry game. There's nothing. There's no bad weather at all that I can see at the moment anyway. So Crossland will come off the field here. He will be stretched off 5 minutes into this game. Very unfortunate there for Newcastle. Oh, no. Ashley's not calling anything, is he? He's actually not calling anything, is he? I actually think, yeah, he's not calling anything. He's saying play on here. You're off your head. Dude, this guy is going to be the death of me. Ashley Klein will be the death of me. Surely. XXX, I'm blowing up right now. I've seen the bunker go back sets for something like this, make it consistent. I don't understand how you can make an argument that isn't at the very minimum a penalty. At the very minimum. If the Storm score here, you should be ropeable, Newcastle fans. So you've now lost your hooker due to, guess what, foul play, because a penalty is foul play. You have lost your hooker for the game, won't play next week as well. I don't know if you have a bye next week, but you won't play next week as well because of foul play, and you've received nothing from it. He's been so badly injured that he has had to be stretched off of the field. Jerome Hughes and Manai Fateri, and Manai Fateri is going to be at the 8 on fit tackle. Harry Grant left to Jerome Hughes, and he'll cut this ball back to the right-hand side. Will Warbrick, I think, knocked back here from Warbrick, and it's going to be a dropout. Storm whistle at its finest. It just is amazing. Like, how can you get that so wrong? How can you get that so wrong? It goes backwards from Warbrick. That's fine. Ash Klein has the same IQ as Nathan from Chris Lilly. Angry Boys. Jimmy Uso says, why do bad things happen when the Storm play the Knights? Alex McKinnon now this. Yeah, like, sure, but that's... I think that's a pretty loose string there. Okay, yes, sure, that incident did happen, and I wouldn't say that this incident here with Crossland is the same equivalence of Alex McKinnon. At the end of the day, it's bad, he's been stretched off, but it's not to the same equivalent level, but okay, sure. You know, but it's a bit of a weird comment that you've brought that up, to be completely honest with you, so I don't really know how to reply to it. Second tackle here at the 10, because they're very different things, but I understand what you're trying to get at, but it's a very loose string there. Second tackle here, it's a bit harsh there, Nate, I agree. It's a hard one to reply to. Third tackle now for the Storm, they're going to be at the 3. And it's going to be Harry Grant, then on to Trent Loiero to Jerome Hughes to Farlongo, quick passing, Manai Fateri. Oh, 5 metres out from the line, 4 tackle. 5 metres out. They give it to Jerome Hughes to Josh King, and Josh King is going to be 5 metres away from the line, fit tackle. 7 minutes in here. Klein just hates Knights players. Oh, Utuakamanu, no way. Did I actually call Utuakamanu try? Oh my gosh, I actually did. Hey, Jess, I hope you got on Utuakamanu, because he's just got a try into the post here. I hope you got on Utukamani because I did call this as a try, which is crazy. The reason why I'm not really celebrating this is because this is super harsh of the Knights to concede here because there should have been a penalty to Newcastle. And I thought he never scores. Well, Ibrahim, what did I say? I said I'm going to tip him to score on the basis that I said that he never scores. And I tipped him, and there he goes. And there he goes. After my Seagulls, yeah, on second thought that was loose. Yeah, again, it's fine, but I just didn't know how to reply to him, man. Brent says, you're a cuck line. Oh, man. I'm actually, has he got this down? Has he got it down? Yeah, he's got it down. He holds it. He holds it. 4-0 with a kid to come. Stefano, $12 odds. Well, if you got on him, guys, I'm nearly going to have to call the 10% here. I'm going to have to nearly call the 10%. If you've won on my prediction of Stefano Watukamano to score here today, I'm nearly going to have to demand a 10%er because that is an unbelievable prediction. That is an unbelievable prediction. Stefano Watukamano at Amy Park. Hold on a second. What was that stat just then? What was that stat? So, at Amy Park, Utukamanu has only scored 1 try. Are you serious? Against the Knights, he scored 3. He's only scored 14 tries in his career. That is his first ever try at Amy Park, and I called that today. That's actually outrageous. That's actually outrageous. So Farlongo will get the kick, and it will be 6 points to 0 here to the Melbourne Storm 9 minutes into the game. Would have been like 50 the first try scorer, yeah, for sure. So much for looking at the players' heads. Correct, Ryan. Absolutely correct. It's a Storm comeback story. Why would they get calls against them? That's also true. So 6-0 to Melbourne. Yeah, $12 anytime try scorer, and buddy, 50-1 first try scorer. Cannot believe it. Even though he's a shocking ref and could have missed it somehow. Who knows? I'm not making excuses for the clown, but the bunker's there for this stuff. I'm so mad about this. No, there's no excuse because I saw it live. I said there was an escort in the middle. I said there was an obstruction live. I don't understand how he wouldn't have seen that when 3 players collided with each other. Harry Grant was there as well, but Crossland and also Joe Chan had come into collision with each other, so he would have seen that and he would have been aware of it, but he didn't call it because I think that he's suggesting that Crossland has made a defensive decision when he absolutely did not make a defensive decision and he was just scrolling across, and then now, yeah, they've lost their hooker because of it and they got no penalty at all. Ridiculous. So the Melbourne Storm are going to bring this ball to the 45 on 5th tackle. 10 minutes gone in the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 10 minutes gone. I won 10 mil. I'll send you the 10%. Hey, listen, I'm looking forward to the $1 million donation. Beautiful. We're on our way to the $4 billion we need for the NRL rights. Forget KO. Forget Channel 9. We're going all in, mate. We're going all in. Every game here live on BKRsport. Greggy Martiu, he'll bring this ball to the 25 on first tackle, gets the offload away to Fletcher Sharp, and Fletcher Sharp's going here. He's going here, and he'll be taken down to the 40 on second tackle. Someone please explain why Joe Chan didn't get sent off, but Ponga did, genuinely asking as well. Well, there's a very... Sure, like, again, this is another loose line that we're kind of dragging here. Very, very different situations, but Dom Young's away here, Dom Young's away here, Dom Young's away, the 40, the 35, the 30, and Farlongo takes him down alongside. I can't see who's actually made the tackle alongside Farlongo there. That was Joe Chan. They go to Dylan Brown. He'll get it off to Matt Croker. Matt Croker's going to run this ball up the middle. He will get the offload away to Harrison Graham. Harrison Graham's at the 15. And he will get the offload away to Jacob Saifiti. And Saifiti will be 10 metres away from the line. 4 tackle. Harrison Graham to Fletcher Sharp. Kalen Ponga, quick passing. Fletcher Hunt. Greg Martiu knock on. Bad pass there from Fletcher Hunt. You can't blame Greg Martiu. It's a knock on from Newcastle and the Storm will get away with it. They'll be at the 10. They'll be at the 10 after they get the ball back. Get around your Brocky. So the difference is that... Well, that was pretty cleanly into the head of Phoenix Crossland, but also Crossland has... It's a completely different scenario. I don't even know why we're entertaining this. Like, I know what you're trying to say, but it's just not correct. However, I don't really know how to reply to all of these comments because you're drawing such a loose line between two relatively similarities of McKinnon and this, and which is just so opposite, and then Ponga to this scenario, and you're just like, I don't know. It's very, very different because Ponga was the defender in that situation. Ponga was a defender with an intention. Like, it's so different, bro. I don't even know why we're trying to kind of draw the line here. So Jerome Hughes is going to kick this ball. 40-20 attempt here. 40-20 attempt here. That's a 40-20. Oh, maybe not. Did that actually go to the 20? Did that get into the 20? I'm pretty certain they did. Yeah, it's a 40-20. It's a 40-20. Jimmy Hughes says, I'm excited for Rays Roosters. Yeah, hopefully it's good. Should be good. Right now, the Storm are doing pretty well. Yeah, that does go for 40-20, so it is going to be bounced awkwardly, so it kind of skewed my mind there. But Josh King, he's 15 metres away from the line now on first tackle. Rolls it back to Harry Grant. Off to Loiero. Loiero to Tukamanu. No way. No way. Don't do it again. He nearly scored again just then. Second tackle now 3 metres away from the line. Harry Grant to Jerome Hughes. Jerome Hughes at the back to Munster. Munster to far long. Oh, amazing defensive tackle there by Dylan Brown. You know it. That's what he does. I think he scored. No, I think he's held up. Joe Chan's gone over, but I'm pretty certain he's going to be held up here. Paul says, come on, Storm. Well, right now they're doing pretty well. Ryan says, think it is the situation. Big game direct hit on ball carry compared to off the ball line run. Again, loose line. I know what you're saying, but loose line. But I get what you're trying to allude to. No obstruction. The ball goes on his leg. I don't think this is a try here. Dylan Brown's such a good defender. He's amazing, bro. He really is. He's probably the best defending halfback in the game for mine. Yeah, the ball is on top of the leg here. You're never going to get any evidence to prove against it. It's going to stay here at 6-0, and it's going to be 4 tackle back at the 10. Crowd is so dead. Welcome to Melbourne, Jimmy. Welcome to Melbourne. So that's the huge, son. That is the huge. Of course, I sell Stefano and then he starts to play footy. So I cannot believe I called him as a try scorer today. I cannot believe it. He never scores. He never scores. How have I called that? It's amazing to me. It's amazing. Peter says, do you think Stefano should be in the Origin squad? No. Personally, I don't think he has what it takes. I agree. To be an elite front rower. I agree. When compared to AFB, well, AFB's been at really poor form. Barnett also has been on the bench. May, you've made some really... We're having a random day here in this chat. Why are we going with AF? But okay, sure, but I would have used the name like I'm paying ours. AFB's form's not been great. If we're basing it off of potential and what we would expect, then Utukamano could absolutely be there alongside like an AFB. Munster kicks his ball through, chance here, but it'll be Callum Ponga who gets it, and he'll be taken down in goal here for a dropout. This is relentless from Melbourne. This is usually what the Knights do to opposite teams. 6-0 Melbourne, but a kick to come for a dropout from the Newcastle Knights. You can make arguments for why Mitchell Barnett shouldn't be there and Jackson Ford should be there. You can make arguments for why AFB shouldn't be there and that Terrell May should be there, and May's not even there. So why have you used them and not paying us? Terrell May is a cat, Westmate says. Cliff says up Fosbull. Yeah, Fosbull's great, mate. I wish I could be sitting here talking about Manly's performance yesterday without... Oh, it's a great take there from Moses Lee over the Storm at the 15, first tackle. I really wish I could give the credit more so to Manly, but there was just such a significantly 2 big calls in the space of 2 minutes. That was a takeaway of a try from the Rabbitohs and then a giving of a try to Manly, with both of those calls probably being incorrect. Definitely the Manly try was incorrect. But the other one, you can still somewhat debate it, even though I think it was a try far longer, right-hand side, Will Warbrick. Oh my gosh, they've lost the ball. And the Knights are away, Greg Martiu. How have they defended that, Newcastle? That is an amazing try-saving tackle. That was amazing. How has he made that tackle? That I thought Will Warbrick guaranteed. Well, there's another knock-on from Will Warbrick. There's your weekly knock-on. Ponga has completely knocked that tackle free, the ball free. That is a huge play. Oh, like the Bunnies, we'll be seeing you in 5 minutes. Hobbit says Dylan Edwards and Reece Walsh in State of Origin Game 2. Why? Third tackle now to 45. That is incredible to me. Why? You're just saying that for the sake of it. You're just saying that for what reason? So what did Tedesco do wrong? I can hear the Callum Ponga one, but what's Reece Walsh done right to prove that? Like, why you explain why you would say that? There's no reason for either of those two selections. Reece Welsh has been awful so far this season, and Dylan Edwards has been great, but also Tedesco did exactly what he needed to do and won the game for New South Wales, mind you. Storm dropped the ball there, but it goes backwards, and they will bring it out to the 15 here on first tackle. I don't get it. Why would you change the guy who quite literally won you the game and has won you the game before, won you the series before in James Tedesco, current Dally M holder, for Dylan Edwards, who's been great for the Panthers, but also why? And then on the other side, what has Reece Welsh done this year at, knock on Storm and the Knights here? They're going to be with an attacking opportunity, 0 tackle, 15 metres out. Minty says Ponga did same tackle, got sent off. Not the same tackle. 6 again, now 15. I'm not getting into the Origin chat in regards to that. Fletcher Hunt. Oh my goodness me. First 0 tackle here for Newcastle, 4 metres away from the line. Yeah, 100% rage bait. I don't know. Hobbit comes in with some weird comments like that a lot. And it's going to be Newcastle now at the 15 on first tackle. Harrison Graham. He'll go to the right to Dylan Brown. Brown to the 20 to Callum Ponga. Callum Ponga gets it away. Jacob Saifidi offloads it. Fletcher Sharp. Try time for Newcastle. 6-4 here with the kid to come. It's going to be basically under the post. Did I end up going Fletcher Sharp or did I go Fletcher Hunt? I mentioned both those guys in my try scorers as in pre-game, but I'm pretty certain I might have went with Fletcher Hunt, not Fletcher Sharp. But Sharpie's good. He is good. Westmate says that was 10 years forwards, but screw it. Yes, Flesh. Well, let's see it. Oh, Will Warbrick was the one who dropped the ball again, by the way. My gosh, this guy has pillows for hands, bro. He drops the ball every single week. Counter Ponga. Nah, it wasn't forward. It was back out of the hands from Ponga. That was fine. Wrong Fletcher. No, I'm claiming it, Ryan. I'm claiming it. I gave him as a shout. I didn't say he'd score. I did go Fletcher Hunt. No, I've got Utukamanu. I don't care if I don't get a single try scorer for the rest of the weekend. I called Utukamanu. I don't care if I get a single try scorer for the rest of the weekend. But Will Warbrick, I swear this guy can't catch to save his life. He can't catch it to save the man's life. Try time, bing bong, mudda bish. XXX says Origin Blues front should be Payne Haas. Tom Ford? Do you mean Jackson Ford? I personally think it should be Payne Haas. And I would personally go Payne Haas and Terrell May with Jackson Ford off the bench. I actually think that's probably the best option, but they won't do that because Terrell May, unfortunately, talks too much in the media, which is complete right. Like, it's his right to talk what he wants online, but unfortunately, there are ramifications for coming out against the New South Wales selections last year. There are ramifications for it. So 6-6 here with 22 minutes to go the first half. Dinky says, far out, Will Warbrick drops every ball thrown to him. Well, he should have scored a try before, but Ponga makes a huge tackle and forces the error out of him. And then he gives the Knights a try here because he drops the ball cold out of nowhere. It's actually ridiculous. Like, Will Warbrick is off to the Warriors next year. If I'm a Warriors fan, I'm thinking, well, shit, do I really want to go away from a Lofiana Khan Pereira and Dallin Martinez-Lesniak right now? That's all well and good that Warbrick's been signed, but if he's going to drop balls like this, I'm going to say no, thank you. Is there a cool-off period for 6 months? I don't know when he was signed, but is there still a cool-off period? Because this guy's been awful for the Melbourne Storm this year. Just awful for the Storm. Someone says, since Ezra got benched, do you think Billy keeps him or replaces him? Ezra should never have been there in the first place for Billy. Second tackle now to 15. Walsh hasn't been in form lately because his favourite nail polishes in stock hasn't been drinking enough toilet water, mate. So, no, that's not going to be Matt Koga. That's Jermaine McEwen, and he'll bring this ball third tackle to the 25. Should never have ever been there. He should never have been there. Ezra Mam's selection never made sense. He's not been great for the Broncos this year, i.e., he's currently dropped, and it didn't make any sense why Ezra Mam was there. Jacob Saifidi has been really nice to watch today. Dylan Brown's going to kick this ball down to the 8, and it's going to be far longer, who takes it out to the 15, and he'll bring it now to the 20 on first tackle. Hell yes, I'm a tad worried as a Warriors fan. We don't need any more help to drop balls. Yeah, I agree with you there. That is true. But I still feel like Will Warbrick is a great... I called him as my breakout player for the Storm the year that he came across from the New Zealand Sevens, and he did really blow up and kill it. But it's like the Storm have this weird knack of having like a 6 again if the Storm at the 45. Now 50 hits Will Warburg with the ball. He will hold the ball though. First tackle, now second tackle at 50. 20 minutes gone in the first half. 20 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. And I think that Warburg's a great player, but his form this year has been so ass. Like, it's been really bad. He should not be getting a game right now. But the Storm have no backline. They've got no backline. So they have to play him. But it's like he's checked out. But right now, if you're asking me what I think Andrew Webster should do, I would say keep down and Loff. Harry Grant kicks it through. Great work by Ponga to get the ball at the 5. Ponga's having a good game here today. He's having a very good game defensively, specifically. That tackle on Will Warburg before to force the error, and then that grab just then. He's been really good today, Ponga. If Shipper didn't get injured, he would have been dropped 100%. Shipper shouldn't have been there in the first place as well. Shipper's done nothing for the Broncos this year themselves. Warburg is like 2018 UCL final carriers. Warburg is essentially the same as Bukayo Saka 2026 Champions League final. Full tackle now at the 25. 19 and a half minutes to go the first half. Are we surprised a 10-day contract player has been dropped to Queensland Cup? I would have well, to be fair, he probably would have killed the Titans, so that's probably why he's upset the most, because he can't get back to form against us. and the Broncos probably go and play themselves into form against us, which is what they did last year, and Ezra is not a part of the team, so this is the worst time to be dropped. Imagine, this is the thing for Ezra, and first tackle with the Storm at their own 30. Imagine being so out of form that you get dropped after a loss against the Dragons, who have won a game this season. You then play the Titans, who 5'1" gnome Adam Reynolds comes out and says, if we don't beat the Titans, then I should retire. Well, I hope we get to hear another reinstallment of that by the end of this round. Utua Kamara gets his ball to the 30 on 4 tackle. But imagine you're so out of form and you're not in confidence. Is that... Oh, Farlongo. Taken out of the 10. Fit tackle here. 1 second. 10 metres out. Harry Grant. Good running. Gets it across. Munster. Oh, he offloads it at the back. Harry Grant drops it. Knights knock on. No way. Oh, my gosh. That is so unlucky, Newcastle. It's going to be a Melbourne Storm ball at the 10. Oh, dude, that is brutal for Newcastle. After all that, it was like just a donkey play. It was great running from the Storm, though, to get up the other end of the field. That was fantastic stuff. Utua Kamano's having a career game right now. Munster with a brilliant offload, and Harry Grant then throws it back, hits the leg of Farlongo, and then Matt Croker just dives on it and drops the ball. That is brutal. But anyway, what I was saying was, imagine Ezra Mam and how painful it is for him when... out of all teams, he felt like he probably could have played himself into form against the Gold Coast Titans. But now the Broncos are going to play themselves into form probably against the Gold Coast Titans, and he's not a part of it. And now Klein is screwing us with no lube. Well, that was the correct call just then. What was wrong with that call? The ball carrying out, he didn't call held. Farlongo be at the 8. He didn't call held. I would argue that was okay. His arm didn't touch the ground. So if his knee's on the ground, he's able to pass that ball with it not being on the ground. If his arm had come down, then it would have been. So I didn't have any problem with Ashley Klein just then. But I've had problems with Ashley Klein today, obviously. Not just then, though. Harry Grant to Jerome Hughes. Gives it off to Trent Loiero. And Loiero is going to be at the 5 on 3rd tackle. Never mind the Rabbits. Who the Broncos play for the Titans? Rabbitohs. So Jerome Hughes. Farlongo. Gets it across to... Oh, that's poor defense, Newcastle. I'm telling you, their defense isn't great. Manaya Fatere will score a try. Well, there's one of the easiest shouts that I did tell you to potentially get on, but Manaya Fatere will score. It is 10 points to 6, the Melbourne Storm, and this actually looks like it might be a good game here. Unfortunately, we saw a bit of debate early on, but that was really... I'm telling you, if you look at the Storm now compared to 4 weeks ago, they do look a lot better. They don't look amazing, but that set previously was amazing. This is... I would start to be... If they continue and they go on to win this game, I would start to consider them a genuine top 8 threat. And I would say that they're not completely out of an equation for 4th. Because if you look at it right now, they would go to 6 wins with a win here, which would only be 2 wins behind Manly, who are in 3rd. This team's still made 2 grand finals in a row. They've been dreadful to watch this year, but I'm telling you, they're looking a lot better in this game. I wasn't convinced until this first 25 minutes has been pretty impressive from them. The way they're running the ball up and making a good 80 metres is incredible. I want to go and have a look at their average set distance as we wait for them to take this kick. The average set distance currently for the Melbourne Storm is... Oh, damn. Well, maybe it's just that low. I've been pretty happy with them so far, but they're actually underwhelming right now. 34.63 is a surprise. I was expecting it to be like 45. They're at 35. Damn, that's not looking like the eye test. The eye test is proven wrong there. Guys, it's been a while. I'm England going to test in an hour for day 2. Been a great trip here in the UK. Well, there you go. Good luck there, man, for a good test there with England and New Zealand. Here that no ball Robbo is bowling. Edson says, to be honest, bro, I see the Titans winning. Not saying it because you're a Titans fan, just generally don't see Broncos winning. That's because you're a Broncos fan that is coming off of Dragons loss. So I get it. Chill out on Bakayo, who is just saving energy for the Community Shield. Titans still beat this Storm team. Yeah, of course we do. We never lose a game ever again. But I will not be chilling out on Bakayo because that was one of the greatest hate watches of my life. Surprised many people jumped on Newey from what I saw. Not that it's a bad... don't do this. Not that it's a bad tip, but I felt Storm would have felt massive confidence beating the Shooks. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. I know what you're doing. You're trying to make it sound like you're a hero for tipping the Melbourne Storm. One, the game's not over yet. I'm not having a crack at you. I'm just telling you that you're trying to make it sound like it's a big ballsy prediction to go for the Storm and that everyone went on the Knights, but you saw against that. One, it's only been 25 minutes here and it's only a 4-point game because you missed the kick. But also, two, I said pre-game here that this was a 50-50 game, that I was leaning with the Knights because they are the better team so far this season. The history of the Knights and Storm is not fantastic here for Newcastle at Amy Park, but at the end of the day, it's completely 50-50. It was a complete 50-50 game from pre-game. However, I did lean with the Knights based on the fact that their attack is very good this year, and their defense has not been great in the Storm. They've not been great on either. So, well, their attack's been pretty good, but their defense hasn't been great. Callum Pong is getting this ball at the 20. I don't want that. What you're saying there is essentially that you called something that nobody else was seeing, and it's like, well, it's not that nobody else was seeing it. It's just that you're looking more towards the stats of it all, and the stats are favouring the Knights. But there's a reason why I said it was as 50-50 as they come. Draz says, yeah, maybe I acted arrogant there. I guess my point was I was shocked to see other media outlets sleep on Storm like Bloke in a Bar and all that. The thing is, man, is that people aren't sleeping on the Storm. They're just observant on the Storm. 4th tackle of the Knights at the 45. So whilst we all, throughout this season so far, like, oh, Dom Young's away here, Dom Young's away here, Dom Young's away here, kicks the ball back onto the inside, Fletcher Sharp coming through. Fletcher Sharp, is that Dylan Brown? Who is that? Oh, I think this is Harry Grant who's dropped it out. I think there's a forced drop out here. This is a good game right now. They're going to check this. The bunker. Ashley Klein's going to go to the bunker to see if Dylan Brown scored this, but I'm pretty certain it's going to be a dropout. You got to remember, throughout this entire season, people like Bloke and Bar, people like myself, people like Guru, and whoever else you want to say in the content creator community, we've tipped the Storm endlessly. Like, we've had all this belief in the Melbourne Storm for the majority part of this year. Harry Grant touches that and drop. Oh, no, maybe not. Oh, this is actually a knock-on from Dylan Brown. This is going to be a 7-tackle set here for Melbourne at the 20. So anyway, long story short, I'll tell you what happens when it gets confirmed. But we've backed this Melbourne Storm team in all year because we know that they can do stuff like this. That's not saying that we know more. We definitely don't know more. We're the same as you. We just do it in a public light. It's going to be a knock-on here. So it's going to be Storm ball at the 20. But the point is that we've seen it, we've gone for it, they've proven us wrong so many damn well times that you are going to be more inclined to not tip the Storm now, even in a game like this, which was absolutely winnable. And that's why I said it's absolutely a 50-50 game, and I could easily tip the Storm, but I'm going with the Knights in regards to the form of this season. But I guess you've just been... You can't trust this Melbourne Storm team, which is what I repeatedly said in the pre-game as well. I cannot trust this Melbourne Storm team right now until they go and prove it otherwise. And I even said, I actually don't care. Like, I will enjoy getting it wrong because it will show us that they've now won 4 out of their last 5 games. The context of the previous games weren't great. The Roosters game, the Roosters was so bad. This is actually a really good performance from Melbourne right now. Despite their average set distance not being spectacular, their overall performance has been good. But I think, and again, I know you've said what you said, I feel like it's unfair to suggest that people aren't aware of what the Storm can do. It's just that you're going to go away from what you've seen so far this season. If you've watched all the Storm games, you know what I'm talking about. They're a very, very difficult team to trust right now. So the Knights will get this ball here at the 5, and they're going to bring it out to the 15. For example, I tipped them against the Tigers. I tipped them again. I tipped the Melbourne Storm against the Eels. I tipped the Bulldogs, and then I tipped the Roosters on the Roosters merit, not on the Storm merit. And because I couldn't trust them, I did take the Roosters. That was a big win for them, but also the Roosters lost to the Cowboys the week beforehand. Newcastle third tackle will be taken out of the 25 on the right side of the field. And then, again, I've gone with the form here today, but it's only a 4-point game. We haven't seen jack shit yet. There's still 12 and a half minutes to go the first half. There's still 52 and a half minutes to go here at the game. So I don't think it's unfair to people like Bloke and Bar and whatnot who would have tipped Newcastle, because they realistically should be winning this game based on how we've seen some other season. But he wouldn't have been, and I won't always defend. I will defend when I feel necessary, and he won't always. He won't always. No one ever is going to be perfect, but I don't think that he will see and say that the Storm never had a chance here. Ryan says, "Yeah, come on, mate. Even the bookies had Melbourne as favourites. You can't call a favourite." Oh, really? Were they actually the favourites for this game? That's interesting. That's really interesting, actually. 4 tackle. That surprises me statistically. That surprises me. Melanie says, I want to watch the live match, please. You have a lot like a Ferrari. Aussie Spaceman says, we have always been top 8 threat. It's just, no, you haven't been. It's just our 4-pack is so shit, but when they turn up with aggression, we can beat any team. I agree with that. Far Long will beat the 40. No, you weren't. 7 losses in a row. No, you weren't a top 8 threat, but you're starting to turn it around for sure. But 7 losses in a row, no, I'm sorry. You're a Storm fan, so of course you're going to be looking on that side. But from a neutral perspective, bro, no, you won't. But you've turned it around now based on the fact that you are starting to get a few wins against some pretty contextually beneficial teams to the point of the year. Nothing wrong with that, Storm fans. Don't boo it. Play the whistle, Kanaponga, run it up. You'll score. These guys are all sleeping. There's nothing wrong with what happened to Munster just then. He milked that. So it's Kanaponga with the ball at the 23 on first tackle. Again, with all due respect, no, you won't. That should be a penalty there, but they didn't call it. Now, second tackle here for Newcastle at the 30. Just because they are now doesn't mean that they were 5 weeks ago prior to an injured Tigers team, prior to the worst defensive team in the entire competition, the Parramatta Eels statistically. Again, the Roosters was your one good, really solid win out of the lot. If you win this game today, I would say this is your best win of the lot, actually. I'd say it's better than the Roosters game, but no. Again, the Tigers and Eels, as context applied, and you still lost to the Bulldogs. With that being said, I think that you are definitely in the hunt now. Fletcher Hunt's away here. Fletcher Hunt's away. Back on the inside, Dylan Lucas. There's another one of my try scorers. Bang, bang! Dylan Lucas scores under the post, and it's about to be 12-10 to the Newcastle Knights. Dylan Lucas will score. And there is 10 minutes to go in the first half here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. 10-10 with a kick to come from in front of the post, and Dylan Lucas scores. Jess says it's a game of 2 halves. So much can still happen. Absolutely. And the Knights are about to take the lead. And great try here too. Fletcher Sharp, Kalyn Ponga, little bubble, steps inside, brings it back out, takes him on for Teddy. Fletcher Hunt gets it away, and then he passes off to Dylan Lucas, and he will score underneath the post. This has been the best game in ages. This has been a really good game here. No, best game in ages is not true. Panthers Warriors last week was incredible. That was an incredible game between Penrith and New Zealand last week. Incredible. Aussie Spaceman says, after the Warriors game, everyone lost belief. You think that the Warriors game was what cost the belief for the Melbourne Storm? Oh, you're talking about in regards to fan? Are you talking about in regards to fans or in regards to players? I'm sure you're not talking about players. The players wouldn't give a shit. They know they can turn around. No, I think it was the Fitty bomb probably from the Panthers, and then the Warriors game enhanced that, and then the Raiders game enhanced that, and then the Rabbitohs game absolutely enhanced that, and then the Dolphins game enhanced that. So again, since that Dolphins game, you've gone and beaten the Tigers 44-16, whooped his shit, dominated the first 20. Outside that weren't spectacular, but the Tigers had literally all of their players out. Api Saikota was out, Jareen Buller was gone, Terrell May wasn't there, Sam Walafonu wasn't there, Adam Dewey wasn't there. There was another player I can't even think of all the players that were out. That's how many players were out for the Tigers. So again, I look at that and I go, whatever. You were expected to do it, and I tipped you for it. 12-10 here to Newcastle with 9 minutes to go. They get the kick. And then you go to the next game where they lost to they beat the Parramatta Eels. And they won 34-8. Also wasn't a spectacular game for them as well. If you look at the stats there, it wasn't unbelievable. That was at Magic Round. But also Parramatta are in third last position and have got the worst defense in the competition by country mile. But the Storm still had a 71% completion rate that day, and also had, in a game that they won 34-8, 16 errors, which is above the awful category. Awful category is 14 above across a game. They're at 16. That's 2 above the awful category. So this is the thing. Those two games have still kept them down there, but the Roosters win was good. They still lost 30-20 to one of the worst teams this year on the Dogs. And then right now they're down 12-10 when they've been up, but at the end of the day, there's still 48 minutes to go here. I know you're a Storm fan. Thank you very much, Jess, for the £10 donation. Appreciate you for the support. Get around here, Jess. That means you've either got on Newcastle Knights over 10.5 first half, or you got on a try score prediction of Dylan Lucas. I really wish you had got on that Stefano Tukumana prediction. I'm going to keep telling you guys about this for the next year, probably. I'm going to keep telling you guys about Stefano Tukumana being predicted for a try score in a game, maybe for the next 2 years. If anyone ever says your try score predictions are shit, bro, I'm just going to say, hey, listen, Fletcher Sharp's away here. Fletcher Sharp's away. I'm just going to say, listen, have you ever called Stefano Tukumana for a try? Didn't think so. But I'll tell you, there's a penalty here from Ashley Klein. The Knights are on the roll here. The Knights are on the attack. Knights are on the attack. These spacemen will let the game play out, but if we win, we beat all the bottom 4 teams comfortably except the Latrell Mitchell Bunnies. Who gives a fuck about the bottom 4 teams? What are we talking about the bottom 4 for? Sure, okay, but that's expected. Like, what's the bottom 4 going to do with anything? You should be aiming way higher than that. Who cares about the bottom 4 for you? If you're a top 8 team, then you shouldn't be thinking about the bottom 4. The bottom 4 should be easy wins. You should be thinking about thinking about beating a team like the Panthers, who right now you've conceded 52, mind you. What are we doing? That's a knock on there from Kalen Ponga. What I'm going to say is that I get you're a Storm fan, but I feel like you refuse to acknowledge that, Biffo, throw an uppercut, you cats. Bum, bum, smack him. Biffo, there's actually 2 Biffos happening right now. There is 2 Biffos. There's a lot of feeling in this game. You can feel it. Jess says, who scored it? Fletcher Hunt? No, it was Dylan Lucas. Dylan Lucas scored for the Knights. Fletcher Hunt passed it to Dylan Lucas. 7 minutes to go here. There is a biffo. There is an absolute uppercut central happening right now. A couple of handbags being thrown. Just kiss each other, you cats. Dylan Brown and Ponga. Ponga knocks it on. And then Joe Chan. Munster comes in super unnecessarily. He might get penalised for this. Even though it's a knock on from Cannon Ponga, Munster has come in and just shoved Cannon Ponga over just now. Edson says, cringe-ass grown men fighting. Oh, I love it. This is rugby league, bro. Go back 20 years ago. Mate, the Battle of Brookvale was one of the greatest moments of all time, even though they couldn't throw punches for shit. What are you talking about? This is rugby league heritage, man. What do you mean cringe-ass grown men fighting? This is what we want to see in rugby league. We love this. This is the passion. This is the excitement. The Battle of Brookvale is awesome. You know, the fights we saw when Ben Craig pussied out and pushed Justin Hodges and then ran away like a little cat. I think they're going to penalise Munster here. Yeah, the penalty's going to be against the Storm here, correct. So knock on against Ponga, but that won't matter because Munster's come in and got penalised. Good scrap just brings the passion. Exactly right, Jess. Wait a second, have they penalised Newcastle? What are the commentary saying here? Oh, now Dane Gagai and Munster. Yeah, it is a penalty in Newcastle. I was going to say, so Joe Chan's on report here. What's the commentary talking about? It is a penalty in Melbourne Storm. I was correct. Justburger says, I took Knights first half by 1-4. Well, 7 minutes to go here, man. Good chance for you. Very good chance for you. What do you rate a fantasy forward with Hamish Stewart, Toby Couchman, and Payne Haas? I don't really know too much in regards to the fantasy scoring. And 6 again for Newcastle at 10 metres away from the line. Huge potential chance of a try here. Huge potential chance. Yeah, beating the bottom 4 teams should be a bare minimum for Melbourne, Dinky Links. I agree with that. Oh, Dylan Lucas knocks that ball on and Fa'alongo will get it 0 tackle at the 3, but you're going to take it out of the 10. There you go. This is a good game right now. It's an enjoyable game. Nate says the only team that should be worried about the bottom 4 teams is the Broncos. Yeah, 100% agree with that. What I was trying to say was, again, not having a crack at you, Aussie Spaceman, because at the end of the day, you're always entitled to an opinion, but I also acknowledge that you're a Storm fan, and we're talking about the Melbourne Storm here, so I feel like you refuse to acknowledge the criticism that we do have and the legitimacy of that criticism through the season. That doesn't mean that the Melbourne Storm can't turn it around, which was what we've seen from teams like the Melbourne Storm before. We've actually seen it from the Newcastle Knights on many occasions before as well. We've seen it from plenty of teams before. Nothing is ever impossible to do and impossible to achieve, but the criticism is absolutely valid for the Storm team. They still lost 7 games in a row, and regardless of the fact that you're a Storm fan, you should also be able to take yourselves out of your own shoes and put yourself into as much of a neutral perspective as you can. And when you do that, you'll see that saying we can confidently and comfortably beat the bottom 4 teams. Well, it's like, well, who gives a shit? You've been in 2 grand finals in a row. You've won multiple premierships throughout your history. Why do you care about beating the Dragons, who, by the way, it took you 6 minutes to take the lead against? The Titans, you haven't played them yet. The Eels, who you weren't great for the first 50, 60, but then you blew them away in the last 20, which is similar to what you did to the Dragons. But like, this shouldn't even be in your thought process. This is in my thought process as a Titans fan, and this is, in thought process of Tigers fans and thought process of middle table teams and whatnot to really establish themselves in the middle table. But as a Storm fan, you shouldn't even be thinking about the bottom 4. But you're currently with a chance to be in the bottom 4. Mind you, with a loss here, you are in the bottom 4 because the Eels and Bulldogs both play each other this week, and if there's a draw, you go into third last. So let's not pretend that you can talk. You talk about the bottom 4, but yet you're talking about being a premiership contender. If you are a premiership contender, you're not even thinking about the Gold Coast Titans. You are not even thinking about the St. Illawarra Dragons. You are not even thinking about the Bulldogs, who you lost to, mind you, and you're not even thinking about the Parramatta Eels. Kalapong to the left-hand side. Does anybody disagree with that thought process? Knock on Dylan Lucas. After his try, he's made a couple of knock-ons here. It's going to be Melbourne Storm ball here at the 30 on their own side of the field. All that smoke, boys, says, hey, Blades, great stream. Do you think Fletcher Hunt will have a long-term career in the NRL? I think he should, but the issue with the Newcastle Knights is they've got Bradman Best and Dane Gagai. Now, Dane Gagai's getting on now, so Fletcher Hunt could probably just transition straight into that centre role for Dane Gagai rather than Bradman Best, because Bradman Best is going to be the guy. So you got Fletcher Hunt and Bradman Best there, Kalapong a fullback with Dom Young and who's the other winger right now? Greg Martiu, and then the 5'8". For mine should be Fletcher Sharp, and the halfback should be Dylan Brown, with 14 being the 14 being Sandon Smith. Unless you go Harrison Graham. I think that I would personally go Harrison Graham. I don't really rate Sandon Smith that much. 4 tackle now at the 30. NIH says, how good is the bye week? Yeah, it's pretty good, mate. My team won last week against the bye. Beautiful stuff. In extra time. 1 pointer. Beautiful stuff. Fit tackle now at the 15. Harry Grant quickly. Left-hand side, Karen Munster. Offloads out the back. Still Storm ball here. Still Storm ball. Far long, or flicks it out the back again. Still Storm ball. Jack Howarth. Not Jack Howarth. Penalty to... Not Jack Howarth. But a penalty to Melbourne here. I would consider the 2 here. I'd consider the 2. It's on the sideline, but Dane Gagai wants to challenge this. This is a mad game here. This is actually a really enjoyable game. It's descent penalty as well. Doesn't really matter, but I'd take the 2 here if I'm Melbourne. I would take the 2 and make it a tied game. Only 100%. The Storm are nowhere near premiership contenders. Too inconsistent. I can't believe the Storm are going for the try here. If they get it, great. If they get it, fantastic. But contextually, 12-12 is massive to go into half-time with. First tackle, 9 metres out from the line. Alec McDonald's going to roll it back here to Harry Grant. Harry Grant gets it across to Jerome Hughes. Munster, short ball, Cooper Clark. He'll be 5 metres out from the line. Second tackle. Jacko says, I disagree. A premiership contender definitely is thinking about the Gold Coast Titans. There's also that too, Jacko. There is also that too. Trent Loiero. 5 metres out, third tackle. The Gold Coast Titans, no one talked about the Titans as like in the contender discussion. On the basis, Jerome Hughes over the top. Try time, Will Warbrick. May even be a high tackle penalty try here if they look at that the first hit. But it is a try for Melbourne, and taking the try option might have been the better way. 14-12 with a kick to come. 14-12 with a kick to come. They get a try in the corner. 14-12. Yeah, so Jacko, the Titans are clearly going to win every premiership from now until the end of time. So that's why we don't talk about them so much, because it's just so obvious. That's quite a high tackle, though. Oh, no, it wasn't. That was actually a good attempted tackle there from Fletcher Hunt. It wasn't high. It's about here on the shoulder, so he should be sweet. It should be sweet. Will Warbrick. Yeah, it's fine. The tackle, not high. So try time for Melbourne, 14-12 with a minute and a half to go here of the first half. And Jess with another £10 donation. Get around you, Jess. Fire up. Fire up. 14-12. Well, we did call that high-scoring game, and they both are going tit for tat right now. Currently watching the Bye versus the Wars game. Hashtag the Bye way. Really needs to get his shit together. I've never really rated him, to be fair. High tackle. No, it was sweet. It was actually lower than I thought as well. It was the shoulder, but like here. So it was a good distance below. Now, Fence Crossland is a New Zealand hooker. Yeah, Crossland. What's that guy's doing anything? Ibrahim says, I feel like Harrison Graham should start over Crossland. He's more fast around the ruck. No, I think it works well. Crossland, I don't think that just because you're a New Zealand hooker necessarily means that you just deserve the spot. For example, Griffin Neame plays for New Zealand, and I'm not even trying to shit on the guy, but I just don't think that he actually performs better for New Zealand than he does for the Cowboys. Like Lindsay Collins with Queensland. They will miss the kick here, so it's going to stay 14-12 with Melbourne Storm with 50 seconds to go the first half, so only a 2-point game right now. But it's like Lindsay Collins plays better for Queensland than he does for the Roosters, and I guess Griffin Neame plays better for New Zealand than he does for the Cowboys. But you find it weird how they even got to that position. But yeah, Phoenix Crossland, I don't really necessarily rate a great deal, but I also think that the way Crossland plays and then Graham coming off the bench is a really good one too. Jess is cleaning up. Jess always cleans it up, no? Jess always cleans it up. Always cleans it up. All that smoke, boy, says you're 100% correct with why Storm want to beat the bottom 4 teams. It means 13 teams would probably beat you if that's your thought process. Correct. I think we can beat every team outside the top 4, not now, but after a couple of wins. But but this doesn't make sense, Aussie Spaceman. Like, you're a Storm fan, and you're telling me that the Storm can win the comp, and you're saying that you can beat every team outside of the top 4. So why are you telling me that you are a premiership contending team if that's a forward pass from Harry Grant. They didn't call it, though. Third tackle at 35. Why are you telling me, and telling us here in general, that you're a premiership contender, but yet you're scared of the top 4 right now? And yet you beat a top 4 team in the Roosters last week. Make it make sense to me. Make it make sense. But yet you're focusing on bottom 4, and now you've changed it to we can beat anybody outside of the top 4. But that doesn't make sense because you beat a top 4 team in the Roosters just last week. I don't understand what's happening here. I'm extremely confused. I'm extremely confused here. Ben says, Blaze, Aussie is from space. He doesn't have a great view on things. He's entitled to his opinion, but it's a very confusing opinion. It's a very confusing opinion. But anyway, halftime here, 14-12 to Melbourne Storm. They did take the lead just on halftime. It's actually a really cracker game here. It's actually a really, really cracker game. So let's get into the stats to see how it's all reading out. Obviously, these stats will update at halftime, so I'll read out what I see, and then if it's updated whilst I'm still talking about it, obviously we'll go through it. But guys, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's smack it. So the Storm 14, Knights 12 at AAMI Park here in Melbourne. You go to the tries. Stefano Utukamanu. Called it. Manaya Patere and Will Warbrick with 1 for 3 on the conversions from Swilawi Fa'alongo. And the Knights with 12, Fletcher Sharp and Dylan Lucas tries. Callum Ponga 2 from 2 on the conversions. We move now down into the possession. 60% possession for the Melbourne Storm. 40% possession to Newcastle. And that really is going to come down to the completion rate that I'm going to speak to you about in a second, because that is a very, very hefty possession count in favour of the Melbourne Storm. But again, when I tell you this completion rate number in a second, you will understand why it is 60-40. Now, time of possession, 16 minutes and 24 seconds for Melbourne, 10 minutes and 39 seconds from Newcastle. Not great from Newcastle. You want to be seeing 12 minutes. For the Melbourne Storm, anything above 15 is amazing. So 16-24, 16-25 now, alongside 10-39. That's 26. That's just over 27 minutes of gameplay. That's above the 25-minute threshold. You're pretty happy with that. You move to the completion rate, and here you go. 80% is what you're looking for. 80%. The Melbourne Storm are at 90%. That is spectacular. That's unbelievable. 19 from 21. They are holding the ball. They're not making mistakes. Brilliant stuff. Well, the Newcastle Knights are at 72%. That's below the 80%, but it's an 18-point swing in favour of Newcastle, in favour of the Storm. 18% below is just dramatic for Newcastle. It's not good enough. 13 from 18. They're 3 sets less in general, but they are 6 less completed sets than them. So 3 less sets, but 6 less completed sets. It's dramatic there. So we move down into the attack. All runs, 107 runs here for Melbourne for 965 run meters for the Storm. So that's 105 meters behind the 10 meters in average per run that you're looking for. I will say it's a pretty good hefty number anyway. Now it's 109 for 982. They're probably going to update above the 1,000 here. So as I always say, if you hit 1,000 meters and a half, you're very happy with that always. It's now gone down to 108 for 971, but it'll update again in a second to 109 for 982. Point is, they're only 18 meters away from going above the 1,000 without the updates here, which is very, very good. They're still down. I have to go off the 108 for 971 that's showing, but they are down by 109 meters in the 10 minutes average per run. Whilst the Newcastle Knights are at 84 runs for 790 run meters. So that's actually pretty good. That's only 50 meters behind the 10 meters in average per run. So the Knights are actually technically doing more with the ball here. They technically are doing more with the ball here. They're just dropping the ball too much. because now it's 109 for 975 for the Storm. So that means there's 25 extra runs for the Melbourne Storm. They're up on them by about 180 right now. But if you give those extra 25 runs at the 10 metres an average, which is relatively unfair, so that would be 250. Now it's, 25, 250. That would take them to 890, 990, 1,040. I would probably safely assume it's 1,010 to 1,000 for the Newcastle Knights on that basis. If you give that equal comparison, the Storm are losing runs and run meters here. I don't know what's happening. 107 for 961 now. But the point is that the Newcastle Knights would probably be at 1,000 to 1,010, provided they have the same amount of runs. So the Newcastle Knights are doing more with the ball when they've got it, but they're just dropping the ball too much. You go to the post-contact meters, 311 for Melbourne, 243 here for the Knights. So if you give those, it's 23 runs now. I don't know why they're updating downwards, but with an extra 23 runs, I don't think Newcastle are getting 71 post-contact. I don't think so, but it's entirely possible. I would say it's probably 300. You'd probably be looking towards the 300 to 305, maybe 310. It's pretty equal. I'd say the post-contact is quite equal if they had the similar amount of ball. They don't right now. Storm are well in advance, and again, based off of the pure stats, they're well in advance. The run meters, I'm just saying with the ball, they're doing a bit better with it. Now, line breaks, Newcastle 4 to the Storm 3. That's very good there for the Knights. Tackle breaks, both healthy numbers of line breaks, mind you. Tackle breaks, 20 for Melbourne. Wow, poor defense, Newcastle, but I've been telling you about this. 12 tackle breaks for Newcastle. Very good defense there from the Melbourne Storm. Average set distance, and now this number's looking a bit better than what I expected before. Remember how I said before that I was expecting the Melbourne Storm to be at about a 44, 45, 46 area for their average set distance, but then I looked and it was 34.73. Well, now they're at 45.93. So 25 metres and below is pathetic to turn the stream off. 25 to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic. And 50 plus is essentially perfect. The Melbourne Storm are now at 45.52. So that's what I was thinking that was happening. It looked like that on the eye test. I think this might have been wrong here on NRL.com because 45.52 makes sense. That's fantastic. It's unbelievable. They're making an incredible amount of meters every single set. It's just one below the best category of 50 plus. But the Newcastle Knights aren't too far away at 43.78. So they are in a lesser category of great rather than fantastic. 43.78 is only about 2 meters shorter of where the Storm are. So it's not too much of a gap there. But at the end of the day, the stat for the Newcastle Knights is actually being regressed because of their errors. Because you've got to remember that if you knock the ball on a first tackle, that's a set complete. Well, it's not a completed set, but it's a completed set in this statistic that's a whole full set. So you've only made 7 meters. That 7 meters is included in the average. So that's why it's important to note there. So yeah, anyway, a 2 meter advantage here for the Melbourne Storm, but it's pretty significant. It's just that the Knights' errors is what killing them. Now, average play the ball speed, 3.46 seconds here for the Melbourne Storm. 3.47 seconds for the Knights. It's basically the same thing in the average category. 3.19 and below is extremely fast. 3.2 to 3.39 is fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow. And 3.8 and above is extremely slow. 3.46 and 3.47 is both on the average category at the exact same speed. Offloads, very healthy here for Newcastle. 9 offloads to the Melbourne Storm with 4, which is quite low. And then we move down to the forced dropouts. 2-0 Storm way. Kick defusal is 50% for Melbourne, 33% here for the Knights. And the Storm have got 1-40-20. And then the effective tackle percentage. Well, interesting here because the team that has the far fewer less tackles, missed tackles, the team that has the fewer less tackles is actually well below where the team with the more missed tackles are. So effective tackle percentage, 85% below is awful, 85% to 88% is underwhelming, 88% to 90% is hitting the market, and 90% and above is basically perfect. 86.93% here for the Melbourne Storm. That's underwhelming. It's not good enough. They're below the 88. 133 tackles made is not many tackles. 160 to 180 is the typical range. They're at 133. They're 27 below the typical range of tackles made in the first half. And 12 missed tackles reflects that. That's below the average of 15 to 17 by 3. And the ineffective tackles is ridiculous at 8. So their defense is actually not good here, Storm, because they're above the average of 5 to 7 on the ineffective tackles. They're above the average by 1. Whilst the missed tackles, they're below by 3. But again, they've only made 133 tackles. So 20 bad tackles in the first half with only 133 tackles made for an 86.93 is not actually that great. But it's just that they're not having to defend as much as Newcastle are. But the Knights have got 89.41%. So they're in the hitting the job marker and getting close enough to the great category. That's fantastic for them. They're happy with that. It's not perfect, but it's still great for them. 211 tackles made is above the typical 160 to 180 range by 31. It's a lot of tackles to make in the first half. And they've had 20 missed tackles. So that's above the average of 15 and 17, but 211 is ridiculous. So you're going to expect above the average. Then they go to the ineffective tackles of 5, which is on the average of 5 to 7 on the lower end. So 25 bad tackles here for the Knights compared to 20 bad tackles of the Storm. But there's also a 68 tackles made switch. The Storm have 133 to the Knights 211. So it's only 5 bad tackles that separate a 62 tackle made gap. So the Knights are defending at a much better rate here. And at 211 tackles made, to have 89.41% is really, really phenomenal. So I think they'd be very, very happy with that. You go to the errors here, and this is where you are losing the game, Newcastle. Because, Brenton, when you look at these stats in regards to the negative play, you're going to be surprised because it's... The Storm have actually conceded more here. So errors-wise, 3 and below is really good, 4 to 6 is average, and 7 above is awful. Well, the Melbourne Storm are at 3. 3 is fantastic. 3 is fantastic. 3 is really good. Well, the Newcastle Knights are at 8. That is awful. So 8 to 3 here. That is a 5 error gap. They are in the awful category. The Storm are in the really good category. That's where they're losing this game. Penalties conceded 2-2. Ruck infringements is 2-0 to the Storm. Inside 10 metres is 1-0 against the Knights and 1-0 on report against the Storm. So that means that on an infringement level, conceded penalties, ruck infringements, and inside 10 metres, it's 4 against the Storm to 3 against the Knights. So besides that original bad call that we did point out in regards to Ashley Klein and not calling the obvious penalty that should have been had on the Phoenix Crossland incident, it's actually against the Storm here more so. It's just that you guys are giving them the game. You are giving them the game. 8 errors is giving them the game. The Newcastle Knights are truly losing this right now based off of an 8 error count. That is outrageous because defensively the Knights have actually been better. With the ball, I believe the Knights are doing better. If you look at it from an equivalent level of being down by 21 runs, they're at 800 to 956, and it's 50 metres behind for the Knights, whilst it's 100 metres behind, 104 metres behind for the Storm on the 10 minutes an average per run. It's just your completion rate, and it's just your errors. Without those errors, you'd be winning this game. 100%. So that's the stats. I'm going to still lean with the Knights here, but this is a really close game. It's an enjoyable game, and it's all going to come down to the wire. Okay, so Braden says not to be rude here, but look at my comments. Okay, so Braden, I know you say not to be rude here, but at the end of the day, you know this is halftime. We're doing stats. You are not the only person here. So we are reading through the halftime stats. So I will get to your comment when we have the opportunity to get to your comment. It's not rude for me to be saying this either. We obviously are doing all the stats today at halftime to show people what exactly is happening, and there are a lot of comments to get through. So I will do my best, and when I do get to them, then I will read it out. But you just have to be patient, man. The only way for people, if you want me to truly just see it pop out onto the screen, and I will read it out directly immediately, is when it's a donation. And that's not telling you that you have to do that, but if you want to force me to kind of read it immediately at the time, even if I'm doing stuff like that, just like I did with Jess and the likes, it has to go through that way. Otherwise, I will get to it. You just got to be patient. Aussie Spaceman says, well, we're in the 6 to 10. We run over all bottom 8 teams. Well, yeah, but we've gone from bottom 4 to... Brother, I'm sorry. You're all over the shop in regards to your argument here, Aussie Spaceman. You're all over the shop. You've gone from this to that to this to that. You've talked about bottom 4, and then you said you couldn't beat top 4, but then you've already beaten a top 4 team, and then we're now talking about bottom 8 teams. There's actually 9 teams in the bottom 9, mind you. It's not bottom 8 anymore, but that's pedantic, and I'm not going to have a go at you for that. But the point is that you've gone from here to 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 there, and I just don't know where you're kind of going here. Whenever we respond to you, you shift the goalpost to this, or you shift the goalpost to that. So you got to stick by your argument, man. You got to stick with what you believe in. If you believe in this, then believe in that. You don't go from thinking about the bottom 4 to not beating the top 4, and that keeps everybody else. And it's really confusing what's going on right now, is what I would say. Braden says, Rabbits lost last night. Like any team needs to work on our defense. Go the Bunnies. So what, you're telling me that I had to read that out? Like, what do you mean? I thought you were going to ask me a question. So you said not to be rude here, but look at my comments. What do you want me to reply to that? Roberts lost last night, and we need to work on our defense and go the Bunnies. Like, what did you want from me, bro? You've just put in a statement. Okay, sure, that's your fair. Yeah, okay. What are you doing? Guys, I'm just going to go with Coke Zero here. Brendan says, Braden, just make all your comments super chats. Yeah. Give me 1 second here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. I'm just going to go grab a Coke Zero before the second half starts. All right. We're back. The Storm are running out onto the field. So are the Newcastle Knights here. Jess, I saw you asked the question before. What did you say? What we thinking? Will the second half be more tries scored than the first? Ooh, that's a tough one. Oh, that's a tough call. That's 5 tries. So you're asking for 6 tries? You're asking for 6 tries. That's a big call, Sean, to agree with that. 6 tries is a lot. You know what? I might even say, on a bit of a wild basis here, I might even say same. I might say there might be 5 tries scored in the second half, the same as the first half. Look, again, we called the over. It definitely could hit more than 5 tries, but 6 tries is a lot to ask for in a close game like this, even though we have seen plenty of tries scored. But you need 6 tries, which is quite a lot. And then again, not really for these teams, but we'll see how it pans out. I'm going to go with a bit of a educated guess here. I'm going to say there might be 5 tries scored in the second half as well. But anyway, the second half has started here, guys. Newcastle bring this ball through for Zell out to the 15. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. 7-3, Sean says, who do you all think is taking this game, Knights or Storm? I went Knights pre-game just. I said this was a 50-50 game, but I'm leaning Knights. I would probably still lean Knights, but it's going to be close. It's going to be close. 6 again here for Newcastle or 33. Jess with the £2 donation says, I want you to say, we all love BKRsport. Yeah, appreciate that support, Jess. Appreciate that. You think that... Oh, they're away here, Newcastle. They're away. Right-hand side, Dom Young. Back to the inside, Dylan Brown. Straight away, Newcastle Knights will score. Hello. Try time for Newcastle immediately. And Dylan Brown's going to be the one to score it. I called Dylan Brown as a try scorer last week, and he gets it this week. You're kidding. You're kidding. Where's my code 0? Well, there's your first try, Jess. You might be on. You might be on here. Might be on. Where we says, so anyone reading any good books lately? Yeah, the book's about Dom Young breaking away and back in the inside, Dylan Brown. That's the book. Great book. You think you're going to get past me, Jess? You think you're going to be... I change people's comments all the time. Appreciate you for your donation. But I still will change a donation. We do not love the ball man. Not that I think that... I don't believe Ashley Klein is ultimately as bad as we suggest he is on a regular basis. I just think that his howlers are so significant. His howlers are so dramatic that it emphasizes what we think about him. So I believe that he makes the game intentionally about himself a lot of the time. I don't think on a frequent basis he's actually the worst referee. But I just feel like the significance of his calls, because you've got to remember, he gets selected for the biggest games. So he's under the microscope, the biggest and the largest. Besides when Adam G had a perfect grand final performance in 2023 as a referee. But Ashley Klein is always unfairly given all the biggest games. again, to be completely fair, that's going to get the kick here. So 18-14 to the Newcastle Knights with 37 minutes to go of the game. To be completely fair, I don't think he's as bad as we actually make him out to be. But he makes some absolute ridiculously howler calls. Colin said, what are you talking about? Oh no, Colin's crying. I can see his arm out here, knob. Oh no, Colin. Well, you've already been hidden, so it's not even about that. I don't even know what he's complaining about. I actually don't even... I don't even know what he's complaining about, to be fair. Jacko says Ashley Klein or Casey Badger. Oh, you're a dog. Oh, that's out in the full here for the Melbourne Storm, and Newcastle will get a penalty at the halfway point. That is out in the full from the kickoff. Oh, Colin. We'll see you on your next fake account there, champion. Sean said, 773, Sean says, late for it, a second before it closed. I was about to take the plus 3.5 Knights. Yeah, well, again, I did take the Knights. Well, we'll speak faster for you, Colin. Well, I just don't know, because we don't know who you are, Colin. I just don't know why he's been so abusive there when I think he's just asking me to slow down speaking. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to do that, but I don't understand why you'd be so upset and aggrieved by someone speaking quite fast when we're speaking about a lot, so we have to get through a lot, so that's why we speak quite fast. Kalaponga's going to beat the 5 here on second tackle. If you can't keep up, there's other slower channels out there for you, which is completely fine. If you're not really here for the commentary, that's fine. That's up to you. But with that being said, we have a lot to go through. We talk to the comments, we go through what's happening in the game, and we speak about a whole heap of things going on. There's multiple conversations happening in the chat, so we are quite fast with it. But yeah, again, if it's not up for you, then it's not for you. The Knights will get this ball at 20 after a mistake in the passing. 4 tackle at 20. Jacko says, who's kicking for the Storm today? Timo Werner kicks better. Timo Werner can't kick to save his life. And kick better than Gabriel, though. I don't like that side. Dylan Lucas. Oh, no, double movement. No. I think it's double movement here. No. He went down short, and I think he's reached over. I think it'll be no try. Ashley Klein's gone to the bunker here, which means he thinks it's a no try. I think this is a double movement. Dylan Lucas will go down 3 meters out here. Arm touches the ground. Yeah, this is a double movement for sure. Unfortunately, he just can't help himself here. It's a tough one to stop. Larry says up to Castle, you gotta believe. Well, that tipped is. Yeah, it's a double movement for sure, man. It's 1,000,000% double movement. It's a good put down, a lot of strength, but it is a double movement. Wait. Peter says, do you think Bodo Sharpley will debut for the Titans this week? He sounds impressive under 17s, under 19s, Queensland rep. Only 5 games of Queensland Cup, though. I don't know. Against the Broncos, maybe. I think that they really want to give more... I think they need to give Cooper Bye more minutes. So I would make the argument as surely not. And that's not an insult towards Bodie. I don't know if it's Bodie or Bodie. I think it's probably Bodie. It's not an insult towards him. I just feel like right now Cooper Bye has earned more minutes. And everyone's demanding and asking for more minutes for Cooper Bye. Tino still needs his minutes. You also need to see the minutes out of Mo. And I don't know. It's interesting to think if he will, but I think more so he'll get some big minutes at the end of the season. Yeah, get a bit of champion to him, NIH. Get a bit of champion to him. You got to set the precedent, you know? You got to set the precedent. We've already seen 2 biffos in this game here today. You know, get the third one here. So Jerome Hughes will whack it up. Cry more, Jacko. And we count on Ponga gets his ball here at the 15. And he'll get it out to the 20. No! Knock on from the Knights. And that's what this is why you lost to the first half. Jerome Hughes is away here, 0 tackle. He's going to bring... Oh, no, you didn't, Newcastle. No, you didn't. I did say Jerome Hughes was due a try, by the way, in the pre-game. You didn't. You didn't just do that, Newcastle. You did. And Kalaponga's down, grabbing his left shoulder here. God bless him. That's the worst thing you can see. God bless him. Oh, he's in pain. He's in agony. Oh, my gosh. Newcastle, what the fuck, man? Not only do you... Oh, dude, this is probably the most painful 10 seconds of your season. Kalen Ponga is down, grabbing heavily at his left shoulder right now. You've had a knock-on from Newcastle in your own 20. Jerome Hughes has then ran directly into the right shoulder. I don't know if it's left or right, but into the shoulder of Kalyn Ponga. He's grabbing down in agony right now. And Jerome Hughes has walked over the line because of the drop ball. That is maybe the worst couple of minutes spell of the Newcastle Knights season by country mile. But it also summarises this game today. It's the left shoulder. It's the left shoulder. Jerome Hughes has just pumped right through him. Of course, Ponga is injured. Yeah, but this is a heavy contact here from the upper body. Oh, it's a bad tackle technique. It's on Kalyn Ponga, unfortunately. That's head contact. Shut up, Daz. That is really unfortunate for Newcastle. And not only that, but the kick in the guts is that you are going to... The kick in the guts is that you are going to concede as well. In 30 seconds, it all went to shit to Newey. Yeah. The other end of the field, Newcastle just scored as well. And it was called no try. A legitimate no try. And then the Storm got the other end of the field, injured Kalyn Ponga, and score themselves. Aussie Spaceman says, Walsh and Hammer. Good question. Consistency, I'd take Hammer. But in regards to what they can provide, I'd take Reece Walsh. It depends. If you're asking me prime Reece Walsh or prime Hammer, I'm taking prime Reece Walsh. But you're seeing more consistency on a significant level from Hamiso than you are. Like, I would trust Hamiso every game. I would not trust Reece Walsh every game. I would actually not trust him for most games. But the second half of last year was so undeniable. And it honestly is probably the best of the lot in regards to the one season kind of deals of Turbo and all that. And Ben Barber and Hayne, because he actually was the one to lead his team to the premiership. I would genuinely put Reece Walsh last year above Hayne 2009 and Ben Barber 2012. I would. I'd do it. But that doesn't mean I trust him. Third tackler at the 30. Whilst I trust Jared Hayne and I trust, I don't trust Tom Tabuya due to injury, not because of the way he plays. And I trust Ben Barber 2012. I don't trust Reece Walsh. So they go to the left and they'll be at the 50, now the 45. Hetherington on fit tackle. 32.5 minutes to go here the game. Westmates is now, if that were a defender throwing an elbow like that, they'd get 8 weeks. Don't do this. So the Knights. Oh, Ponga's back. Oh, Munster! What the hell was that from Cameron Munster? Why didn't he just catch it and try and run it himself? What? What's he doing? Cameron Munster, the ball bounces away from Ponga. He could have, he would have probably been taken. He was actually probably covered, so I get it, but I think he could have done better. That was crazy. Jacko, we're not going to go down to that dodgy path, but on the field, yes, I do trust Jared Hayne, yes. I'm not going to go down into the legality situation. Oh, Spaceman, I think Walsh is better offensively, but Hammer is more complete all round. Yeah, I would agree with that. But let me put it this way. You're down by, let's go just 12 points. No, let's go 16 points. I think that's fair. You're down by 16 points with 15 minutes to go of a game. Who do you think is more likely to turn the team's fortunes around, Hamiso or Reece Walsh? My answer is Reece Walsh. But then again, you did kind of agree with that in the sense that you said the Walsh is better offensively. I would agree that Hamiso is better defensively, but I just think that if you're looking in the way that the NRL is nowadays, Dom Young knock on, it's going to be Munster gets a ball off to Farlongo. Farlongo will beat the 20 on first tackle. I feel like, you would definitely be looking more so at Walsh to win you your game. But you'd be looking more so at Hamiso to be more consistent throughout the game. They're both at elite level. Will Warbrick with a good run to the 45. Will he hold on to it, though? Second tackle. Oh, that's going to be Pasami Saulo having to go off here for the blood bin. He's bleeding pretty heavily out of the top left of his forehead here. God bless him. 30 minutes to go of the game, folks. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. And if I speak too fast for you, I'm so sorry. But that's what we do here. Yeah, we got a lot to do. Zalti says Turbo 21 is the only one who didn't show up against any good opponents this season. Overrated. Oh, I think it's harsh, but I've always maintained that I would have put Tommy Turbo below Jared Hayne and Ben Barber. I also think that if you're talking about overrated for Tom Turbo in 2021, which I would listen to but disagree with, because I still think that he was undeniable in a lot of those games that year, and did pull them all the way through to the second week of the finals. But it was only the third week of the finals, the preliminary final. People don't ever talk about James Tedesco 2019 for the Roosters and for New South Wales. He won them that series. He won the comp that year as well. He was just undeniable that entire year. Alongside, but Cooper Cronk was there as well. But Tedesco in 2019 was spectacular. But I can hear why people don't talk about him, but I think that's underrated. I would personally still say that Reece Welch last year was number one out of Jared Hayne and Ben Barber, if that's all you want to talk about. Harry Grant gives that pass to Hetherington. He's going to be at the 40 on 4 tackle. Walsh is a moments player for me, agree, but I think Hammer is always there. But yeah, I lean towards Walsh, but I think this season undeniably Hammer. Oh, this season is easily Hammer. This easily. They go to the right, and it's Will Warbrick at the 20, at the 15 on 5th tackle. Good kick here for the Storm, and they can take an 8-point lead. It's been a good game. It's just Newcastle losing it on errors at the moment. Jerome Hughes to Harry Grant. Harry Grant to Munster. Money Magic kicks his ball through, but the Knights get it. Dylan Brown at the 5 on first tackle. But if you're specifically talking about this year, I thought we were just talking about them as general players. If you're talking about this year, like game 2, Pong is injured, I would be personally taking Hamiso fullback based off of what we've seen so far this year. Lorenzo says, mate, do you reckon the Storm's slump is comparable to last early year Panthers after they lost Luai Fisher-Harris and had to rebuild a little bit? Well, whoever the Storm lost to suggests that it's comparable in that way. Comparable results-wise, sure, but it's not really comparable in regards to the slight little rebuild that the Penrith Panthers needed to achieve. Oh, that's a good hit there from Munster. There's nothing wrong with the hit from Munster, but it is out in the full from Kalen Ponga. It's a good hit from Munster. Don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it because I know that Knights fans are probably booing that. That is a completely legitimate hit. He's completed the tackle. So for people who don't know, as long as Munster is going through and completing this tackle, it's completely fine. He wraps him up and goes down on him. Pause on that, but he wraps him up and he goes down and completes the tackle rather than hitting him whilst he's kicked it and then not completing the tackle. Minicello or Teddy? Ooh. Mark Minicello easy over Teddy. Shut up, Daz. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. Mark Minicello is one of the GOATs, though. No, I'm taking Tedesco over Anthony Minicello. I think Anthony was unbelievable, but I would be taking Tedesco. Second tackle at the 25. UK says, come on, bro. Come on, bro, what? You disagree with something? So it's third tackle now at the 20. Are you saying come on, bro, in regards to one of these two teams? Or are you saying come on, bro, you disagree with something that was said? Harry Grant. Now they're going to be 10 metres out. Clipper Clark. 4 tackle to 5. Liveroo with the $8 donation says date is going well, guys. He did wear his Blues jersey, though, so points for that. 1 second. Jerome Hughes kicks his ball out of the corner. Will Warbrick. Oh, the bounce is awful. It's a dropout. Fletcher Sharp smacks it out. Very lucky there for Newcastle that it bounced to Fletcher Sharp and not to Will Warbrick or anybody else, but will be a dropback coming up from Newcastle. Olivia, you tell him right now. You tell him right now that if he is ever going to be with a hard-working, incoming six-pack girl like yourself, you say you better damn well support the Titans, otherwise I don't want to talk to you. That's what you say to him, Olivia. That's what you say to him. And if he doesn't take that New South Wales shirt off right now and just say that it's an April Fool's prank, I don't want to hear it. Dom Young, what was that from the Storm? Not a single play. Went up for the short dropout, and the Knights had the ball at 20. Thank you very much for the $8 donation, Olivia. First tackle, now second tackle for Newcastle, and they're going to be at the 20. Wait a second, are you messaging us from your date currently? Like, are you actually on the date and you said, hey, listen, pause, I've got to go let BKRsport and everyone in the chat know that we're currently on a date and you're wearing a New South Wales jersey, which is a disgrace. Just hold on 1 second, keep eating your caviar. I'm just going to jump on here and let them know. Is that what's happened, Olivia? Fit tackling at the 40. Now, the final question is, who is his club team and why is it the Dogs? It definitely isn't the Dogs, and if it is the Dogs, Olivia should run. She should say she's going to the bathroom and climb out the window. That's what she should do. If he is a Bulldogs fan, then she should run to the bathroom, climb out the window, and block him immediately. And yeah, he will chase you down with his... no, I'm not going to go down that path. First tackle now at 35. I was going to suggest the car brand. 4th tackle now with the Storm. They're going to be the 45. Just because it's Rock and Money said, well, shows it today. Are you the one on the date with Olivia? So what, are you both currently on this stream as you're on the date? I rate it. I back it in. Cooper Clark at the 42 on 5th tackle. Sounds like a bloody legend, Olivia. Hold on to him. No, if you're just as disappointed as him, to be fair. But at least he won last week. Unless he's a Dragons fan too, then maybe he is. Oh, I thought there was a penalty there. I heard a whistle, but it's Caleb Pong with the ball. First tackle to 15. Oh, it was the Rabbitohs supporter. Yeah, that's right. So, Nate, you a big Rabbitohs fan, are you? Big Rabbitohs fan. Well, another error from Newcastle. I don't know if they can win this game. There's too many errors in them. They're gone past the double digits. There's too many errors in them, man. There is too many errors in them. Nate says, geez, mate, ease up. Hey, listen, it's Origin period. You know this has got to be what it's got to be. Josh King at the 10 on first tackle. Olivia told me that we're not even friends this week because the Titans are beating the Broncos on Saturday. And I said, fair enough. Look, if you don't like the Titans beating the Broncos on Saturday, well, everyone has to deal with it every year. Stefano Tuano at the 3, first tackle, because the Titans are the greatest team of all time. So they're going to roll this ball back to Harry Grant. Off to Munster. Money Magic. Goes to the right. Loyero. Jerome Hughes over the top wheel. Warbrick. Oh, good scramble. Oh, strong from Warbrick. Oh, but good scramble from Newcastle. And they'll take him down to the 3 on second tackle. On second tackle. DM says, how are we feeling about the sticky stuff spray on the hands? Oh, last night was diabolical, man, if that's what you're referring to. Diabolical. Munster, short. Oh, he kicks it through. Oh, that was spectacular from Munster. Oh, that was unbelievable, Munster. Moses Leo will score a try. Cameron Munster, take a bow. That was unbelievable. He faked me out. I thought he was going a short ball to Cooper Clark, which he loves. He loves a short ball to Cooper Clark. But instead, he fakes it, puts it on the boot, onto the corner. Moses Leo, slap bang. Dasmate says he's horny in the chat. We're talking about Tinder, and we're talking about Leo getting a try here. But again, it comes down to your errors, Newcastle. You are losing. Oh, Madeline, unfortunately, you've said Storm with 2 S's, and you're going to be seeing a 5-minute timeout. But that's beautiful from Cameron Munster. It really is. That is beautiful. Cameron, and Dasmate says, Cameron Munster, I'm horny. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know. Far Music says, up the Waz. Well, they got the bye this week. It's a good put down. No, he gets it. No, I know what they're saying, but I'm pretty certain he just gets this. But the Knights are losing this game. Like, the Storm have been good, and they've actually been really good, but the Knights are losing this game on the back of, I think, 10 errors. What are they on now? And Leo, does he put it down? Does he put it down? Oh! Oh! Oh, dude. I think it's a try, but you can make an argument. Does he have control the entire time? That's what the bug will be looking at here. I think that it's given as a try. I don't know if you can take it away from him. That's the send-off, Jay says. Well, Klein is reffing, so you never know. We're still waiting for it to be confirmed. We're looking at the ball man right now. It's not on him right now. You can understand why he gave it as a try live. Still waiting. We're just literally looking at Ashley Klein as we speak. Titans Wires 2027 grand final. Confirmed try. I like it. I don't think you could have taken it away. There was some debate there, but I don't think you could have taken it away. Titans Wires 2027 grand final, 2026 grand final. NIH, look at them. First and second, mate. We're flying. We're flying! Come on. First for second. What are we saying? Please be no try. Can't stand Melbourne. Well, bunnies, they got the try. It is common sense. Original Music says most viewed games in your channel is the Wars. The Wars. Well, it makes sense, doesn't it? The Warriors are going well, and there's an entire country. So Farlongo, what a kick from Farlongo from the sideline. Makes it an 8-point game. 26 points to 18 with 23 minutes to go here of the game. 26 points to 18. Don't forget, we've got Raiders versus the Roosters after this. This has been a cracker, and hopefully that's going to be a cracker. The only issue for the Knights here today is their errors have been diabolical, but that kick through from Munster was absolutely sublime. Sublime kick. There's going to be debate about that try, but I think you give it as a try. I think you do. I think you do. Brenton's kick chase was offside. Unfortunately, man, you've got to... I know you're fair in your reasoning, but you've got to look at this from the perspective of you have made, in this game, error-wise, You have made 12 errors. So there is still 23 minutes to go here this game. You've made 12 errors. You remember how angry I was at the Titans for the 18 errors that we made against Manly? And how angry I was at the Roosters for the 20 errors they made against the Cowboys? And even the 18 errors that the Roosters made, or 16 errors, the 16 errors the Storm made against the Eels the other week, or the 18 errors that the Roosters made against the Storm last week. I think you've got to have that same anger right now, because you're probably going to end up on the same amount of errors. And that's the reason you're losing this game. Because again, when we looked at the stats at halftime, you actually had better defense, and with the ball, you were doing better with it. It's just that you were making errors, which is what was impacting you having the ball. There wasn't many penalties in the first half at all. There wasn't many 6-agains in the first half at all. There hasn't been many penalties and 6-agains in the entirety of the game so far. The second half completion rate right now is 100% for Melbourne and 50% for the Knights. 50%. The second half is a 50% completion rate for Newcastle and a 100% completion rate for the Melbourne Storm. So whilst I know people immediately look towards referee and it's Ashley Klein, and he's very high intensity right now in regards to looking at him and feeling all kinds of emotions dependent on the state that you support. Not you, just in general. But this is the Knights are losing this on themselves with the errors. I seen a chick in the crowd with a Knights jersey waving a Storm scarf around her neck. That will do me. Welcome to the NRL, unfortunately. Welcome to sport fans, casuals. Will Warbrick catches this, and he'll get taken back here to the 8 on first tackle. Also, mind you, Knights' second halves aren't spectacular. And Storm's second halves aren't usually that great, but they've had better second halves recently. But the Knights' second halves aren't good. We remember that Roosters game where they were up by 12 points, I think 24-12 or even maybe 24-10 at halftime. No, I think it was 24-12 Knights at halftime against the Roosters, and the Roosters ended up winning like 38-24. There was also the game against the Rabbitohs where they gave a lot of points, and there's been a few games this year with the Knights where their second halves haven't been spectacular, which is unfortunately something that does ring a bell with Justin Holbrook. Fifth tackle now at the 45 for the Melbourne Storm. 20 minutes to go here at the game, folks, until we go into the Roosters versus the Raiders. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you're new around here. XXX says, I swear I'm going to the rest of Newcastle's games and putting super glue in their damn hands. They dropped one more ball. They are walking home from Melbourne. The thing is, though, is that in 20 minutes, man, there's going to be another error. I'm not saying that for any willful reason. I'm just saying, based off of 12 errors in 60 minutes, you're going to see at least another probably 2 errors. In the last 10, you could see a couple of bowl cup, especially as they're trying to throw it around a bit more. Dom Young is going to push away from a couple, but he'll be at the 45 on third tackle. Storm been okay, just above average, and Knights just can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. I think that's a pretty good way to put it, but I would also say it's relatively harsh to the Storm. They've been pretty solid today for the most part. First half wasn't spectacular, but they've definitely been just more solid. Dane Gagai right through the line, though. Here we go. Dane Gagai offloads it. Here's a chance. Jermaine McEwen, try time. Choo-choo, chugga-chugga. Big Knights car. It is a try time in Newcastle, and we've got a game here, folks. 26-22 with a kick to come. Here we go. Beautiful run from Dane Gagai. Beautiful run from Dane Gagai. Absolutely beautiful. 26-22, and it's about to be a 2-point game, baby. Here we go. Storm robbed. Ponga should have been sent. What are you talking about? Ponga should have been sent for what? Wait, why should... Oh, okay. No, you're just referring to the origin period, because I don't know what you could have been referring to otherwise. But boom, boom, try time. Actually, how many tries is that in the second half for you, Jess? That is 1, 2, 3, 4. You need 2 more. Oh, no. Yeah, you need 2 more. 2 more in the next 19 minutes, Jess. You might be on. I did call 5 and 5, so I said that only 1 more try, but I really hope I'm wrong, and there is 2 more tries for you. And this game does have plenty of points in it. We called it perfectly. The Knights have a good attack, and Storm have a good attack, but both teams defensively aren't great. Well, this game's been called perfectly so far. And don't forget, called Stefano Tukumanu. Don't forget that. Boom, boom. Knights seem to score a lot easier when they have the ball. So let me just confirm up the Gold Coast Titans. You've just said the Knights seem to score a lot easier when they have the ball. When they have the ball, they score a lot easier, do they? Opposite to when they don't have the ball. So you're saying that when they don't have the ball, they don't usually score, but when they do have the ball, they do score. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him. Very, very bold. Ben says, how's Peptide's mate and Clown mate doing? Oh, they're still cracking. Jason says, let's go Knights. Well, they're in it. Only a 2-point game here, 26-24. Up the Goggles Titans say, are you trying to insinuate it's easier to score without the ball? No, I'm trying to insinuate that I can't believe we're having this conversation. I'm trying to insinuate that you've just said that the Knights find it easier to score when they have the ball, which is like, it's like saying it's more likely that the Storm are going to score when the Knights are inside the attacking 10. Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm insinuating. It's like, well, if the Knights get the ball to the 19, they're at the 20. Or when it's raining, it's going to probably be a bit wet out, so maybe bring an umbrella. Do you know what I mean? If the Knights have the ball, of course they're going to find it more likely to score than if they're defending their own line of the 20. Jess with the £10 donation, 23.5 Knights. Jess is flying. Jess is flying, man. Oh my gosh, you can't stop her. You just can't stop her. Fit tackle of the Knights, 60-metre gain's amazing. Dylan Brown with the ball. He'll put that ball up in the air. It's only a 2-point game right now. A penalty would really send this off the Richter scale. Dom Young! Oh, catches it, but he takes it over the sideline, and it'll be Storm ball at the 10. That's a tad pedantic. Well, how is it a tad pedantic? How are you finding a way to call me pedantic for you saying that the Knights, when they have the ball, are more likely to score when they don't have the ball? And I'm the pedantic one here. I'm being pedantic because I'm saying, no shit, Sherlock. Oh my gosh. Oh man, it's too funny on these chats in this comment section. Ryan says that Hughes walk-in try after an error might prove the difference. Yeah, for sure, but there's still 16.5 minutes to go here. A long way to go. Third tackle for Melbourne at the 28. Jess is paying rent this week, mate. She's helping me fly. She's helping me buddy, live in a beautiful place here in Nutrang. I tell you what, it's an amazing place here. I love this place. Cameron Munster is going to get whacked at the 40 on fit tackle. 773 Sean says, do we think the Knights take this? I'll sprinkle on the ML and then send some gifts. Well, I predicted Knights I said 50-50 before the game, but I did say Knights, and then at halftime I said, well, if the Knights can hold the ball, if they can, well, they're more likely to score if they've got the ball. So if they hold the ball, then I want the nice great offload from Greg Martiu. Fletcher Sharp at the 40, the 45, and it'll be first tackle. Newcastle are on a bit of a roll here. First tackle at the 45. They're going to roll it back to Fletcher Hunt. What a game we got here in Melbourne. Dylan Brown, he's going to get this ball to the 50. Second tackle now. No, he says, Jess, that's right. Cowboys are a good team without that. They're awfully humiliating defense. Well, that's also true. Yeah, second tackle. Dan Gago gets it off to Thomas Kant, then off to Fletcher Sharp, and Pasami Saulo. He'll bring this ball to the 35. That's only the third tackle. They are here. They are here. They go to the left-hand side. Dylan Brown, then Fletcher Sharp. Fletcher Sharp at the 30. Then Fletcher Hunt at the 25. He has to go down. Fourth tackle. Come on, Knights, beat these cheating Muppets at Amy Park. Bunny says he's still upset about last night, clearly. So it's going to be Trey Mooney. We haven't seen much of today for the Knights, admittedly. Maybe I just haven't been watching him enough, but I haven't seen much of Trey Mooney today. They go to the right to Dylan Brown, fit tackle at 20. He kicks his ball through. Played out there by Farlongo. Can he pick the ball up? No, Harry Grant gets it. First tackle for Melbourne at the 15. Justin is a good appointment so far. Love his attacking structure. Justin is he's a good coach. But he has his weaknesses in defense, 100%. And I don't think you can argue it even based off of, like, with this Knights. Oh, play the ball, bro, please. Thank you. Third tackle now for the Storm at the 30. Justin is a very good attacking coach. No one debated at the Titans, but his defense is very questionable. It's just that his attack can be so good that it prevents having to see much of the defense. And it's going to be Farlongo. And Farlongo is going to bring this ball here to the 50. Up the Gold Coast Titans. You know that doesn't... You don't... It doesn't mean you can't comment anymore. You know this is how we operate in the channel, man. You say something like that, it's gonna be called out for it. If what you were trying to say, which would have been better, was that the Knights, one second, Storm here, Harry Grant, Jerome Hughes at the 35, goes to the right hand side of Farlong at the 25. They kick this ball through. Callum Ponga gets it at the 20, goes back to the 15. We're taken at the 15 on first tackle. What the better way to put what you were saying is the Knights, when they have the ball, they look really likely to attack because their attack is so dominant and they put a lot of pressure on. Great tackle from Josh King. It takes him back to the 8. Wow, they've lost like 10 metres here on this set through 2 tackles. And now, good run from Jermaine McEwen. Might be a penalty against Joe Chan. No, it won't be. Third tackle at 15. So the Knights, when they have the ball, and I say this every week, if they're in the attacking 20, I'm backing them in for a try. That's how good their attack can be. But if they're in their defensive 20, I'm backing them in to concede. So that's kind of probably the better way to put it. You're not wrong with what you're saying. It was so painfully obvious what you're saying. It was just very specific in regards to being, of course, they're more likely to score and have the ball. Ben says, Justin has that Cobra Kai mindset. The best defense is fighting, is more offense. Well, your best form of defense is offense, of course. And I 100% agree. Like, if you've got the ball, then you're probably not going to concede. Probably is a key word because you can still throw an intercept. Second tackle here for the Storm, and now they're going to bring this ball to the 45 on third tackle. 13 minutes to go here of the game. Notice right after you start complaining about games not being close, we start seeing more close games, not saying anything. It's funny. It's funny, Ibrahim. Because 3 weeks ago, we were talking about 6 out of the 8 games every single week being 13 pluses. Now every single game is pretty much going down to the wire. Good offload from Munster, Harry Grant. Munster's so good with offloads, man. Jerome Hughes at the 35 to Farlongo. Farlongo to the 25, gets the offload away. Great tackling from Fletcher Hunt. No, well, he missed the tackle, and then Fletcher Sharp comes through. Oh, he's trying to claim a penalty here. I think he's milking this. Manaya Fateri, get up. Good on ya. Good on ya. He wanted to milk it, but he got up. It is very difficult to score without the ball, Matt Fletcher. Very difficult. Oh, no. Well, it's going to be difficult for the Knights now because of Storm with a knock-on from Newcastle. Oh, dude, this is the only reason they're losing. The only reason you are going to lose this game here today, Newcastle, is because of your ridiculous error rate. They go to the left, and it's going to be 10 metres out. They score a convert try here. It's not game, but it's close to game. Jerome Hughes, right-hand side to Ativado Wasati. It'll be first tackle here at the 10. I phrased it wrong originally and then doubled down. Correct, up at Gold Coast Titans. Correct. But at least you've got a great name that makes up for it. Your name's too fantastic to really go home in on you. Sean Bloor, he's on the field. He's going to be 5 metres away from the line. Second tackle. Harry Grant, he fakes it left. He goes right. He gets it off to Josh King. Don't do it because Seb Watson would just rush into us if that was the case. Fateri, he'll be at the 5 on third tackle. Big defensive set here, Newcastle. Massive defensive set. Harry Grant, Jerome Hughes across Wutukamanu. Oh, 3 metres out from the line, 4 tackle. 4 tackle, Harry Grant goes quickly. Trent Loiero will score the try. And it's 30 points to 24 with a kid to come right next to the post. It's not game, but Knights, you now have to score 2 times again. You keep eating into it, and then you keep giving it up. And guess what this comes off of? Another error. You have conceded like most of your tries today off of knock-ons. And look, it wasn't an easy take for Fletcher Hunt, but the point is that you have made today, I think that's your 14th or your 15th error now. That is your 14th error of the day with Fletcher Hunt. 10 minutes to go here of the game, folks. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. There is 10 minutes to go of the game, and it's about to be an 8-point game. And Jess, you're only 1 try away now. This is what I predicted. I predicted 5-5. Well, you only need 1 more try in the next 10. Maybe I should be a bandwagon, Jake says. Brother, you're a Knights fan, and you're currently situated in 5th position. Now, look, granted, if it's 8, if you lose this game by 8, you go to plus 26. If the Dolphins win, then if the Dolphins win, you will go to 6th, and the Sharkies win, you will go to 7th. The Sharks play the Dragons, Dolphins play the Cowboys. Tigers would need to win by dead set 40 or 50 against Penrith. That's not happening. Like, bro, you're complaining about being in essentially 6th or 7th when you're in 5th right now. I think you should be very happy with this season regardless. Oh, he's just got the kick there. I can't believe he nearly missed that. 32 points to 24 with 9 minutes to go of the game. What time is second half end? Well, in 9 minutes and 20 seconds. And then we will basically be going straight into the next game, which is straight into the next game, which is Raiders versus Roosters at Canberra, which is a big game. Seb Watson said, this league's all over the shop. So many errors, man. Again, I genuinely believe the Knights would have won this game if they weren't making as many errors they are, because the Storm are scoring their tries off of their errors, which is what they do. They capitalise. It's what they do. They capitalise. It's been a great morning for the M&D charity. Yeah. The Knights didn't get the kickoff. It landed at the 10 and bounced back to them. Newcastle 10 metres away from the line. What? The ball's bounced perfectly there. First tackle at the 10, 6 again. Even Knights. What a game. Trey Mooney at the 5. It's bounced at the 10 directly back to the Knights, and now they are 5 metres away from the attacking line. They go to the right. Matt Croker, Dylan Brown gets it across. Dane Gagai, Callum Ponga. Ponga's going to slip over the 13 on first tackle. That was 0. Now it's first. What is happening? I know you don't mind your football blades, who you got for the World Cup. You notice how I changed the word there. Left-hand side, I don't really care about it, but I just do it for a bit of fun. Yes, in regards to, I love my football. I believe it's Spain, but I actually still don't mind France, man. I don't care about the friendlies. I still don't mind France. Right-hand side, and it's going to be Jermaine McEwen, 5 metres out from the line, third tackle. But Spain have a really good team. Third tackle at the 5. I'm pretty certain they're favourites too, to be fair. Dylan Brown gives it off. Fletcher Sharp. Callum Ponga has to go down because of Dylan Lucas running through the line. 4 tackle at 13. 8 minutes to go. You want to try here. They give it off to Dylan Brown at the 15. Matt Croker running it hard. He gets the offload away to Callum Ponga. Ponga at the 15, kicks his ball through! Chance here! Jacob Saifiti! Try top of the Knights, and we are going down the wire. And Jesse just won another bet. 32-28 here with a kick to come. There's your 6 tries in the second half. Wow, we are about to get a 2-point game. Again, what a beautiful kick there from the Newcastle Knights. The kickoff there from Fletcher Sharp, bouncing at the 10, coming directly back to Newcastle. They get the ball 5 metres out, and they just kept throwing at him, kept trying it. Callum Ponga gets the ball off a great offload from Kroger, puts a little dink underneath for Jacob Saifiti, and you're just not stopping him there far longer. Saifiti will score basically under the post. It's about to be a 2-point game here. About to be a 2-point game. That's a beautiful kick from Callum Ponga. We saw an amazing kick from Munster, and we've just seen an amazing kick there from Callum Ponga. Another instance of the Knights scoring with the ball, by the way. Yeah, no, it's a good shout, Gold Coast Titans. No, it is a great instance of the Knights scoring with the ball. These two teams are shit, Seb Watson says. Callum Ponga gets it. 2-point game. 7 minutes to go here to game. 7 minutes to go. Have you got a single bet incorrect here today? Have you got a single bet incorrect here today, Jess? £5 donation. Get around you. M&D are the winners. Let's get a Cura. Exactly right. Appreciate you for the donation, and it's great to see the M&D is getting as much recognition nowadays, and people are supporting it and really getting providing as much as they possibly can for it. And it's great to see that Jai July will be happening from next month. Thank you for the donation. Blake says, Saifiti crucial on 2 tries. He's been great. Jacob Saifiti's been unbelievable today. He's been unreal. Cape Verde going all the way, mark my words. You don't even know where Cape Verde is. If I gave you a map that didn't show anything, I guarantee you wouldn't even know where Cape Verde is. Alrighty. Jaden says, yeah, shame Z. I don't know what shame Z, but anyway, 6 minutes 43 to go here of the game. And Dylan Brown, he'll get it off to Jacob Saifiti, who'll bring this ball out to the 15. Only a 2-pointer here, guys. Thumbs up, subscribe. We've got Raiders, Roosters right after this. And then tomorrow, you get to see me crash out with Titans, Broncos. We either get a crash out or shirt off. And the other game is, I think, Cowboys, Dolphins, no? Or is that on Sunday? Tomorrow's games are Cowboys, Dolphins, Broncos, Titans, yeah. Just don't make it error nice. That's all I ask. Third tackle here at the 30. Now go to the left to Fletcher Sharp. Fletcher Sharp with the Callum Ponga. Ponga at the 40. Ponga at the 45. The 50's away. Ponga! Oh my gosh, he didn't get the offload. Probably the best not to get the offload away because it probably would have been innocent by far longo and he would have scored under the post. They're at the 40. Matt Croker, Dylan Brown. Dylan Brown gets it across now to McEwen. McEwen off to Dane Gagai. Dane Gagai at the 35 now on fit tackle. At the 30. Fit tackle. Big kick coming up here. 5 minutes 50 to go. Jermaine McEwen, 65-metre gain. Some of their sets in this last 20 minutes have been unbelievable, Newcastle. Goes up high. Knights get it. Knights catch it. Knights taken down to the 10, and that'll be a changeover. Matt says Craig disappeared to the back of the box again. I think that he should just in future sit in the back of the box. I really do. I think he should sit there because one, the cameras won't be on him, and two, he ends up there in the game regardless. JJ says, suddenly we're getting some players who don't usually scoring this game. Again, no Sua, no Dom Young, no Greg. Bye-bye multi. What a strange game. Hey, JJ, I predicted Utukamanu. I don't know if I've mentioned that here today so far. But I predicted Utukamanu. I predicted Dylan Lucas. I don't know if I got the other two guys, though. Fletcher Hunt, I don't think, scored. And the other one for I didn't get Fletcher Hunt so far. And I think I also went with a Money Munster play. But I got Utukamanu, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Full tackle now for the Storm at the 50. Munster, he'll get this ball. Oh, that's a high tackle. Oh, I think that should have been a penalty to the Melbourne Storm, but they won't get it. Harry Grant, 44-metre gain. So still great category. Jerome Hughes. He'll put this down to the 15. Storm competing for it. Warbrick knocks it back. Josh King grabs it. Gives it off to Jerome Hughes. And Hughes gets the offload away. Storm throwing it around. Ativalilo starts. You've got to be careful, though, because you are only up by 2. Farlongo kicks the ball through for himself. Ball bounces. Knights. Wow, he's caught that, Ponga. He has caught that. Jim says, I just realised it's Queensland Day tomorrow and all games tomorrow are Queensland teams. Yeah, it's the greatest day in existence tomorrow. You're right. Second tackle for the Newcastle Knights, their own 25. Ponga to Dom Young, and he'll be at the 25 on third tackle. Not a great set here from the Knights at all. Yeah, we got some close games back to watch. Yeah, the last couple of weeks have been unreal for close games. Fletcher Hunt here at the 30, the 35. He sets back onto the inside, and he can't get the offload away, but it'll be fourth tackle at the 40. Westmate says, has he forgot to mention he predicted Utukamanu to score? Did I do that, Daz? Did I predict Utukamanu to score? Unbelievable. I can't believe that. Thank you for reminding me. So you're telling me that I predicted Utukamanu, who never scores to score, has never scored in Melbourne before. And that'll be Storm who get the ball at the 25, and it'll be Moses Leo now who brings this ball out to the... Oh, he gets the offload away to Warbrick. The Storm right now passing this ball around like they must score. It's a 2-point game in their favour with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go here. Jess with the £5 donation says, who Blaze? Who did you predict? Was that after you said that I hated Ashley Klein? Yeah, it was after I said that I hated Ashley Klein. Not that he's had a bad game today besides that original callback at the early part. But definitely, yeah, hey, Ashley Klein. But I predicted Utukamanu. Yeah. I know, crazy, isn't it, Jess? But thank you very much for the £5 donation. Fourth tackle here at the 50. Yeah, Utukamanu. Never scores that bloke. They go to the right to Jerome Hughes, then off to Farlong at the 40, 35, the 30, and it's going to be Manea Fatere. Fifth tackle at 30. Sean's Blaze has got the golden touch. Wait for his words. Mate, wait for him. Can't believe it. They kick that ball up to about the 5. Ponga, hard take. Good take. Go with the 10 on first tackle. 2.5 minutes to go here. Harry Grant is complaining about something. He's saying to challenge something. You can't challenge a live play. Second tackle here at the 15. Westmate says you have to have a Queensland Day. Of course you have to have a Queensland Day with the greatest state of all time. Dylan Brown to the 20 on third tackle. Not a great set here. It's going down to the wire. Harrison Graham's going to bring this ball from the 25. Gives it off short into the line. Probably should have gone out the back there. Trey Moons at the 30. Not a great set here at all. They go to the right to Matt Croker. Croker now to Dylan Brown. Brown at the back to Callum Ponga. Ponga gets away from one. Still going, offloads the ball to Dane Gagai. They're still only at the 30. This is great defense from Melbourne. Very good defense. And now it's Dylan Brown. They're going to run this ball. They get it across a sharp, quick pass. They're away. Dylan Lucas, the 40, the 45, the 50. Dylan Lucas offloads it. Greg Marty knock on. That's on Dylan Lucas. He's had a rough game today, Dylan Lucas. Oh, he's had a rough game today, Dylan Lucas. He scored a try. Did he score a double? But he also has had a rough day as well. No, he's only scored the one try. He nearly scored the second. Oh, that might be the game. There's probably going to be a few seconds left for your Knights, but that's a rough pass, that. Give us the next game, try scorers, if he's so good. Hey, Sam, I've been doing pretty well, actually, in the last this season for try scorers, to be fair. Josh King at the 45. I've been doing pretty well. I'm just taking the piss in regards to the Utukamanu one. So they're at the 50. I did say it, but I'm still taking the piss in regards to it. First tackle at the 50. Next try scorers, you know I'm going Hudson Young. You know I am. You know I am. You know I'm going Hudson Young. You know that I am going Hudson Young, Seb, and I don't want to hear about it, really. I don't want to hear it. Third tackle now at the 35 for the Storm. They actually may still get a good 30 seconds here if the Storm actually play normal. And don't just try and milk penalties. So they'll be at the 24 on 4 tackle. They go quick play the ball. Harry Grant now takes us to the 10. If that's a 6 again, it's over. No, fit tackle at 10. I probably would have said that should have been 6 again. Harry Grant's milking. 38, 37, 36. He's milking. Munster, final play. He's just going to run this ball into the line, and it's going to be 30 seconds to go, 95 metres here. Knights, good luck. 95 metres, 28 seconds to go here, Newcastle. Roosters Raiders in 3 minutes time, guys. We'll be switching straight across that stream. Hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. They go Dylan Brown to Ponga to 5. He's going to get to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, and it's going to be 20 seconds to go here of the game. Knights ball, forget the tackle count. There's only 20 seconds left. They need to get within range of a 2-point field goal, but they're just not going to be able to do that. Fletcher Hunt gets the offload away to count Ponga at the 30. He gets his ball across. It's going to be Dane Gagai. Gagai's going to kick this ball through, and Josh King picks it up, and that's the end of the game. It's been knocked out here for the Knights. And no, it's going to be a knock-on from Newcastle, and that's going to be the game. He has deliberately knocked it out, and it's gone forward. It's a correct call from Ashley Klein. It's a correct call. And that's the end of the game, and Storm have come through in a screamer. 32 points to 30. And the Melbourne Storm are going to take a giant leap to put themselves back in that top 8. They are going to go into 11th position. They are on 6 wins, which is equal with the Dolphins and the Rabbitohs. They're going to challenge this tonight. They'll lose it. The Dolphins, the Rabbitohs, and the Sharks, and the Tigers, but they will be still 4 points below them because the Storm have still not received a bye. So just remember that even though they are well out of the 8 right now, they're actually equal with the 8 in regards to wins. It's just that they have not received a bye yet. Same with the Cowboys, and the Storm are coming. Well, Knights, you're going to lose this game by 2 points, which will take you to plus 32. But if the Dolphins win tomorrow, then they'll go above you. You go to 6th. And if the Dragons lose to the Sharks on Sunday and the Sharkies win, then you'll be going down to 7th. And that's pretty much as low as you go. But it was a tough loss here today. It was just your errors that killed you. At the end of the game, you've ended with a whopping 15 errors in the game. That is just too much there if you wanted to win this one. But the Storm, they come through in a screamer 32-30. Guys, I'm going to jump off because we're going to switch straight across that stream for the Raiders versus the Roosters at GIO Stadium, which is going to be a belter of a game too, I believe. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I'll see you in just a few moments' time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.